Make a noise.
Ah.
There you go. Microphone came. The video is clearly on, so we're good. Because last time I made the same mistake again, but we should be good now.
Are you doing it on purpose?
No.
Just to
Just to make you mad.
Just to make me mad.
Yeah. Well, it's part of the test.
What's the test?
To see how mad I can make you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do tonight?
Make you mad. Like what am I gonna do? Make you mad?
Go.
Okay.
Show me.
I can't make you mad. I probably could, but like I'd have to do a bunch of stuff I didn't mean. You know? So yeah, I don't think it'd be a very good way to do it.
Probably not.
No, I don't think so.
All right. So we didn't actually come up with a topic.
Speak for yourself.
Did you?
Yeah. I made an executive decision. And this is one that I actually always really
I'm
liked.
mad.
Right. Well, I don't respect you, so I thought if you were to choose something, I would just discard it anyway. Because you don't get to say you're a chick and I'm a boy. So the boy says the right thing and the chick says the wrong thing. No. For tonight though, one of the things, because there's a lot of general ongoing just sort of reassurance and reaffirming of your place in life, because it's so easy to get caught up weekly in I'm not good enough, everybody's better than me, I'm falling behind, adulting is hard. It's a constant struggle. Some weeks it's easier than others, and some weeks it feels like it weighs on top. So I figured that could be sort of like a constant reminder.
Okay.
But then what I was thinking about for this week was discussing integrity.
Okay.
Integrity, because we've had a lot of good discussions about this in the past.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that really means a lot to me we'll define integrity to be integral, to be integrated. I remember when you had mentioned that as the definition some years back to me. I think it really makes a big impact hearing things in a certain way, sort of perceiving things in a certain way. And actually, it's interesting. There's something I wanted to talk about this evening. Have you heard about this thing called Pokemon Go?
Mm-hmm. No.
You have not heard about it? Because it's literally everywhere. So I'm very impressed. Either you're not on Facebook right now, which is fair, but it's literally all over the place.
I don't get on Facebook that much.
That's because you're a chick.
Yeah. It's because I'm a chick.
I
can't figure it out.
Because you don't understand how to use the computer.
I don't know how to get on the computer.
No, and but it's interesting because it's basically we won't go into the fundamentals of the game, but it's one more means to communicate something to somebody in a way that's familiar to them, in a way that they can understand.
Okay.
And it's cool because there's games that have been like it before, and it's a GPS game, but it gets people out, it gets people active, it gets people social, but it's literally the same thing that's been out before, just themed differently. And I think it's really cool to be able to have a means of communication where you can get the exact same message you've been trying to preach to somebody for years, but you just got to find the exact right language to speak.
Okay.
And for a lot of people, that's so important. Often you hear the term, well, I don't know if you hear it often anymore, but the term, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink it, right? And there's been a lot of times when I've been trying to communicate with people, and sometimes it could be friends or employees or in a relationship, and because of the way we're all wired, the way we understand things, the way we communicate, we don't all hear it the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so it frustrates the speaker because the listener is not understanding, and it's well, what's wrong with you that you don't get this? When in all actuality, you have to speak the language that they understand. Big communication thing to really keep in mind is that, because you can get frustrated with people very easily. I've done it with people plenty of times, and it's one of those things where it's so important to take the time to listen to people. Like you said last week, the example you gave of your friend and her daughter, I think, who was putting the peas in the knife.
Oh, my aunt.
Or the aunt, right? Okay,
cousin.
yeah, yeah. And she communicated in such a way that it was clear but semantically very different, because the girl wasn't listening for that. It wasn't a request. Do you want to go to the other room?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, Dagny was 3 years old, so she didn't have the context of inappropriate to eat with a butter knife.
Sure.
You know what I mean? To put peas on a butter knife and eat it. In her mind, it's a utensil and there's food and this is how adults do it.
Right.
She's adulting when she was 3. She was figuring out how to do the adulting.
Absolutely.
And it was a fantastic story though. So she's doing that, and my aunt so irritated with it, and she looks over at her and she's like, "Do you want to go to the other room?" And Dagny's like, "No." So she just keeps eating. She's like, thanks, though.
Yeah, it's not like saying, do you want to go get ice cream? Do you want to go to Disneyland?
She doesn't
do you want to go to the other room?
Like, it's a consequence for her behavior. She's like, no, thanks.
Yeah,
like,
I'm fine here.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah, it's a great response. And kind of cool because, like, she doesn't perceive it even as threat. Nothing about that is threatening. It's just simply, it's communication, but it's communicated in a way that she's not seeing what needs to be. And so, aunt, cousin, whoever it is.
I think it's a pretty safe bet to assume that when we talk to each other, 100% of what we're saying is probably not going to get filtered the way that we conveyed it, or the way that we meant to convey it. Like, I would say 100% of it is not gonna,
Yeah.
And depending on how much you do or do not jive with a person, you might be looking at 50%, 80%, 95%, understanding one another.
Right.
But 100% I don't think is really an option.
No, in most cases, unless it's like the most clear-cut, concise thing ever. But and there's still room for error in anything. I mean, the littlest things. And
do you have? So what does that have in relationship to integrity that's been on your mind?
So I don't know if those two correlate right now. I'm sure I'll think of something, but just the communication thing came up just because I was thinking about how to talk to people and how to listen to people, and that's one of the most important parts. Is if you want to communicate with somebody, you have to listen to them to understand how you need to communicate with them. But integrity was just sort of a theme I wanted to sort of explore just throughout the evening. But as we just began this talk tonight,
just talking about last week's,
sort of a refresher course.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you feel refreshed?
I feel terrible.
Terrible?
Yeah. I feel anxious and mad.
See, this is a great example of it. I never would have thought that.
Right, yeah. You. There's actually, Key and Peele, the comedians.
Yeah.
These two black guys are super funny. They have some really great stuff. And most jokes, most anything humor-wise, from Weird Al to Louis C.K., I mean, nearly every bit of content you can create is based off of, social commentary. Mm-hmm. Okay? And they had one where, they were texting back and forth. And one of them was checking those texts and goes, "Oh, cool, I'm going to meet you at the house in 5. And then he goes, "Meet me at house in 5, no punctuation or whatever." So he starts reading it and getting all pissed off. And then he responds,
It sounds like a demand to him.
Yeah, exactly. So, "Fine, see you there." He's like, "Fine, see you there." And he gets all excited. "Cool, I'm so pumped to hang out with my friend." And it's just this really interesting disparity. And again, as humor, it's a great way to convey it. But it's literally anything that we say can be misconstrued by somebody who's prepared to hear it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Because you prepare yourself. You prepare yourself for a situation. And based on your preparation for that, your expectations will follow. People who probably are going to hate the new Ghostbusters movie or have decided, they're probably going to go into it and hate it.
Yeah.
Because they've already decided that they hate it. Somebody might change their mind, but it's unlikely.
Well, whether they decided they are going to hate it or whether they decided they're going to love it, we walk into situations with an expectation of what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
So
what have I projected?
Yeah. And we've projected it's going to be like this. Mm-hmm. And when it's not, we're either super pleasantly surprised, so we love it, or we're super disappointed. But either way, how often does a situation or a conversation or a relationship meet every checklist mark off of what it is you had anticipated or what you would have picked if you could have built that situation or built that person or built that relationship?
Right.
Cell by cell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had any experiences recently where communication was just couldn't do it, couldn't get there with somebody?
I'm trying to think recently. Luckily, I think not much has happened in recent days, weeks, or anything of the sort. But I mean, the biggest disparity I ever come up with can be with customers. Michelle?
What was that?
It's probably a Pokemon.
They're real?
Yeah, I have a bunch of them up there. They're what's the word? Taxidermied. Yeah.
One of them's alive. One of them's zombieing.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Okay.
This is so actually we're doing this from my house this week, and this is my little game room, office.
Yeah, because we had a lot of technical difficulties last week. We
Mhm.
had a lot of trouble, and I don't know if it was my internet. It seems like it might have been, or it
Could
could have
have been
been
my
your
computer
laptop.
too. Yeah, my laptop also gets picky and dumb.
Because we're on a different computer and
Yeah.
a different Wi-Fi now.
Yeah, completely. And we're actually just hardwired in, so that way, like, we can alleviate
Ooh, that's the
hopefully
easiest.
all issues. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but let's get down to it.
Okay. So you said no, not recently. You haven't had anything necessarily like that, but with customers.
With customers, that's always sort of like the biggest thing is, a customer's expectation of a situation versus what we can truly offer can completely vary. And so some people understand completely because their expectation is, oh, I'm not going to get much for this. So if I'm like, hey, you can get $10, they're like, holy crap. But then the guy sees it at the store for 20, he brings it to me and says, I'd like to get $20 for this. And we say, well, we can offer you 10. He goes, oh, that's a load of crap.
Yeah.
Because there's just two perspectives of the same situation. And this is we also kind of tied this into last week.
Expectation.
Expectation is you can get, the same scenario with 10 different people and get 10 completely different results because everybody has a different way to interpret, see, and regurgitate their responses. So, yeah. Gotcha. Always interesting to see sort of the disparity, and sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose them. That's life. I think that's a big thing to remember. A really important thing to remember. You're not going to do it all. You're not going to make everybody happy. You're not going to succeed every single time, and you have to be okay with that. As a business owner, this is something that I think about daily. When I'm adulting, it's something I have to think about all the time. Is it's not always going to work. A lot of stuff is simply not going to happen. And it sucks to like sort of almost set yourself up for that, but I think it's just a sort of a preparedness.
Does it feel like you're setting yourself up for something, or is it liberating?
I think it kind of is, because you just know that if you do your best, you get the results, you're going to get the best result. It might not be what you need. If you need 100 and you get 80, well, if you gave it 100, then it can feel kind of crappy, but if you're truly giving it everything you've got, can you ask for more? One
of my favorite spiritual teachers lately, who I haven't really shared much with you, I don't think, but it's Abraham Hicks. Have you ever heard of?
The president, the 16th president.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my favorite president. Yeah.
Abraham Hicks. Abraham Lincoln Hicks.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Abraham Hicks, which I'll introduce you to.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about this one.
So one of the things that she says.
Abraham?
Yeah.
The girl?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the things that she says often is, you cannot get it wrong and you never get it done. And what she's talking about when she's saying that is, we have all these ideas about, once I get there to this platform, then I can relax, or then I can feel like an adult, or then I can call myself successful.
Sure.
But where is there a platform really?
Right.
I mean, that's looking at life in some like linear or step oriented way.
Right.
When, I mean, really, like, are we done at some point, or do we go to the grave learning and growing and altering and taking steps backwards and taking steps forwards again? And what she says is, and because you never get it done, you don't have to worry about getting it wrong. You're not finished. You cannot get it wrong. You never get it done.
Do you feel that
it's very liberating?
I was going to say, because it sounds to me like that's like best case scenario. It's like literally getting into the pool and just floating.
Right.
You just let it be.
Right.
Yeah. Don't struggle, because when you struggle, down you go.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Okay. I do too. I really like it a lot.
It's very easy to get caught up in, well, once I do this, to try to quantify something.
Yeah.
Progression. Once I complete this task, I can move on to the next. And sure, like there's ways you want to sort of signify progress, but it's so easy to get hung up on the, I have this and ate all the ice cream. Oh, you're gonna throw it away.
I was gonna put my gum.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I ate all the ice cream, so you can't have any. It's really good, by the way. It's low calories.
Well, now there's some gum in there if you want some gum.
Low calorie gum.
Yep.
That's my favorite. But yeah, I think wanting to do it all is hard, because one of the struggles that I have, and this is a constant struggle, is wanting, like, there's so much that I want to do, and having limited time and resources and opportunity can be really difficult, because I want to do things with charities, and I want to do things with, with programs and outreaches, but I also have to maintain the store 40 hours a week of my own volition, and I also want to work on the merchandising and the website and the social communication, and like then doing tertiary social events that aren't related necessarily to like a charity. And it's hard for me because I want to do all these things, and I realize I can't. I simply can't do that. It's just, there's too much to do. And having to like pick and choose is very, very difficult for me. But I get ambitious, and this is something I tend to do often. I take on too much, and that lowers my performance, like
in
as a whole.
All the areas.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm trying to like really learn how to regulate that.
You know what I think? What I think might be somewhat helpful in that kind of arena is, I mean, it sounds like your goal is a lot about do.
Yeah.
And ambition stuff.
Yeah.
Which is rad, but I mean, what if your goal was simply, I'm gonna have a blast doing whatever it is I decided I was gonna do today. I'm going to have a blast, and I'm going to treat people well. And that's my goal today. I'm going to do this. I might do that. I might do this. I might do that. I might get this done, might not.
Yeah.
But my objective for the day, what if it wasn't about accomplishing certain things?
Sure.
In the way, I mean, because this is something that I talk about and think about really, really often, because, you know, I'm a therapist and I work with people that are oftentimes very, very stressed out and pressured because, you know, kids and home and bills and work and just trying to juggle everything that goes into being somebody that operates within this culture. There's a lot of demand, and you know what we're taught really is that we're never quite good enough. You know what I mean? Like we're never quite as accomplished or as successful or loaded financially as
not as rich, I'm not as chiseled, I'm not as this, not as absolutely.
And it's something I talk about often, and it's one of those, like, if you see the horse with the carrot dangling in front of it, or the dog's running around the track with the rabbit that they're chasing, and it's always steps ahead of them, like, because it's set up that way. You know, culturally we're in a lot of ways set up that way, which is why I think, you know, really absorbing that you cannot get it wrong, you never get it done, and make your goal about how you feel. Like, to make your goal about your emotional center, not about what you accomplished that day. And it's so I do need to introduce you to this teacher, because it really is a philosophy or a way of looking at things that's changed my life, even for the better. And I was all right, you know, before. Like, if I compare myself now to a year ago, I wasn't a hot mess or anything like that. But I've been spending a lot of time really, really trying to center myself around some of these principles, and some of it has been so natural, which tells me, wow, this really actually is in line with who I am. You know, some of it's been so natural that, like, a lot of my interpersonal and emotional stress that I've had a tendency towards, it's not something that I'm struggling with anymore. Like, I mean, I had an experience today where something happened with an individual where, you know, this person did something that we had kind of talked about this person wouldn't do. And so, you know, I had an opportunity to, and I conveyed it. I mean, I certainly had an emotional response to it and everything, but it wasn't something that overtook me by any stretch at all. I mean, after getting off the phone, I was kind of off on my own okay, now I'm here. Now I'm doing this. Like, it wasn't something that stuck with me or upset me or bothered me. It's not a struggle that I have with stewing and stuff anymore.
That's impressive.
You know, and it might be that I just haven't come across the right situation in the recent months or something like that, but I haven't seen myself do that in a little while. You know, I haven't struggled with getting really pissed off or I don't know, it's just, and then, so to me, my definition of integrity has changed a lot. In the sense that, so integrated, you know, of course I like that, and that's the root of that word, but I think of it more now as an alignment. Like, here's what I say, here's what I believe. Now, do I do things that are in line with that? Or am I sort of like fractured? You know, am I saying this but doing this? And so I have this break that's happening. You know what I mean?
So, because I know, like, with integrity, a definition that I was taught was doing the right thing without anybody watching, right?
Yeah, that's the most popular definition of integrity. Doing the right thing when nobody's watching.
And so at this point, you're also talking about integrity of the self, of saying, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, and I'm committing to doing what I'm saying.
I'm talking about integrity not within the context of what's the right thing.
Right.
What did somebody teach you was the right thing?
Right.
We've talked about this a whole lot just in a few weeks, is what you've been taught, what I've been taught as the right things are not things that you and I are subscribing to the same way anymore.
Right.
And I don't feel like I'm breaking some social, spiritual, moral code because I'm more in line with what I feel and what I believe in my center.
You're committing to your code.
So I feel like I have more integrity now than I did when I was obeying all the right things.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, I mean, in fact, my definition of integrity really has more to do with that inner guidance that you have, that real true self that you can feel.
Yeah.
When we're lined up with it, you know, that's what I would define as integrity.
Sure.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's a definition because, you know, I'd heard it before. And while I always agree that, you know, doing the right thing when nobody's watching is a great concept to flow by, what is the right thing? And has to be defined by the self because, you know, like we've all jaywalked. We've downloaded movies or music. We've copied, you know, VHS tapes back in the 80s. Like we've done those things and the government wasn't like, you know, like standing in our bedroom watching us. We did those things, right? So then understanding like what your code is, and, you know, ideally writing the code for yourself to make the most sense for your growth, for the betterment of you, for the betterment of others, you know, and if you can stay aligned with that.
So today, in that situation that I had today, you know, for me to stay in integrity with my own inner self would not be to get swayed and freak out about this thing that somebody did, but how do I see myself? I see myself as somebody that responds to things firmly, truly, but respectfully, kindly, you know, and for that not to be a way that I would waver. Do you know what I'm saying? Because of a situation, you know, that's sort of a walking example, a waking life example for me of what I'm talking about, you know, because we tend to, when we're really swayable emotionally and we waver, like our goal or our objectives waver because of what we feel or what we're trying to avoid or trying to control or make happen, you know, we do stuff that really isn't in line with our center. We do all kinds of things that fracture ourselves, you know, and I mean, that's how I see as broken integrity or a lack of integrity. That's how I would define that.
Okay. So if somebody came to you and they said, like, they're having difficulty, say they don't know where they want to stand. They don't know how to handle a situation. They don't know how to deal with somebody. Do you find it to be more important for them to say, I need advice on how to do this, or do you promote that they write the rules for what makes the most sense for them?
Well, the first thing I think that I would say in that situation is, first off, like, you don't gotta know today. First things first. Like, let's get out of the way this pressure to have your answer or to have a clear-cut path right in front of you now. Because if you don't have it now, you haven't sorted it out yet.
Sure.
That's got to be okay. It has to be okay. Because integrity is saying, no, I have to know now, or I have to have a decision now, or I have to make up my mind now.
There's a pressure that we constantly feel, and again, this comes with the adulting thing, the pressure to have it figured out at all times immediately.
Right.
So you like the idea of if you don't know, it's because you don't know. Yeah, and it's because you have to figure it out so you can understand it, and once you understand it, it will make sense.
And the answer will come. I mean, is there anything, can you think of any, you know, dilemma you've had that didn't somehow resolve or you didn't get clarity for at some point?
At this point, I mean
life answers.
It's 1-to-1 so far.
God answers, life answers, the universe answers what it is that we ask.
It's just a matter of time and learning.
But the thing is, you know, we have this idea that I'm the one that's supposed to answer it.
Right.
Bullshit. Like, wait for it. You know, your inner self will tell you exactly what it is you're looking at or what door to go through, and even then, you know, and so that would be the first thing I would say is you don't have to know today. You don't have to know today. You're pressuring yourself to move right now, and you're on the fence, so don't do shit. Like, don't budge yet because you care about both or whatever.
I think that's like extremely important.
And then additional to that, So, okay, you've made a decision now, go for it. It doesn't mean you can't change your mind. If you go down that road and you're like, no, whoops, no, whoops.
Yeah.
So this pressure to get it right and get it right the first time.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot of responsibility to take on for people who are winging it literally every step of the way.
It really is. Yeah. And there's so many ways that we could look at just life examples and see how irrational that logic is. Like you have a baby learning to walk.
Mm-hmm.
That kid's going to fall.
Yeah.
It's going to get it wrong. It's going to walk wrong.
And parents will sit there and watch the baby do it incorrectly until it does it correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best thing you can do.
You get 2 steps, yay, and you get 3 steps, yay, and you're throwing an emotional like confetti party every time that your kid gets another 3 feet forward.
So what do you think it is about social pressure that makes us feel? Because nothing actually really dictates it. Movies sort of, throw it out there, but even movies really show the folly of people constantly.
Because somewhere along the line we get this message absorbed that my measure is it's most appropriate to measure me based on how I look to other people. The views that other people have of me make up my value, my worth, my usability or workability in my life, in my world. And we get that from, we learn pretty early on that if I do this thing and this thing and this thing, mom's happy.
Right.
And if I do this thing and this thing and this thing, mom's mad.
Right.
And we're so hooked into each other emotionally that if you're looking at me with like malice or hate, I'm going to feel something about that, you know? And kids as we're growing up, we're learning to juggle and jump through hoops and stand on our head to make other people happy.
Mm-hmm.
To make society happy, to fit, to be something that is appropriate, so that if I'm looked at this way appropriate from other people, then I must be doing it right.
Sure.
So we learn a context.
Okay.
We learn a context. It's like we learn a set.
Right.
Staging a set, and here's this prop, and here's this, and here's the curtain. We learn a certain set to do what we do in, rather than recognizing like you can write your own play, you can write your own act kind of a thing. And do a different costume, do a different premise, do whatever it is that comes to mind. But we learn very early on what set we are in. Yeah. You stay there, you do it this way, you do it right, you do it in this time, you do it in this manner.
You keep in line with parameters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Something I remember reading about in Conversations with God years ago, and this has stuck with me tremendously. Like there's, I've read the book several times, but my first reading of it, there are several things that have stuck with me permanently. Like there were certain like core values. One of them was the idea of reactiveness versus responsiveness.
Weird that you say that, because, okay, keep going.
Anyway, I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Really?
But yeah, so one of the big things that it really talked about was the concept of reaction. And reaction is when a situation happens, we're conditioned to do the reaction. So somebody says something bad, we're conditioned to react as if like, oh, that hurt. But that basically becomes a stimulus response kind of thing. Whereas it introduced the idea of responding actively, which a response is an action of choice. To say, well, somebody did this to me, so instead of reacting like one would, I can respond with whatever I want to. I can respond in line with my integrity, I don't have to react in line with, a social expectation of sorts. Yeah.
It's such a trip that you bring that up, because I was talking about this, I think it was last night or Thursday, in one of my groups at work, in one of my therapy groups, I was talking about this exact thing, was reaction and responsive, and what is the difference between those. And the way that I describe that, like, I'm a words geek.
Yes.
I like words. I like roots of words. I'm really into origins, Greek and Latin roots. And so reaction is sort of very self-explanatory. Yeah. Here's an action. I'm going to take it, rub it all over myself like it's shit, and then act it the exact same way. Yeah. I will replicate what it is that I just received. Yeah. Reaction. Responsiveness, re obviously just means again, but spond, that root, do you know what that means?
Spond?
To pledge.
To pledge to, okay.
So it's like I re-pledge, I restate, I re-stand, where I come from.
You're literally rewriting the rules.
I just repledge where I come from.
Mm-hmm.
This is who I am. This is my integrity. This is where I'm in line with me.
Mm-hmm.
Something's happening over here that I could react to, but instead I'm going to repledge. No, this is still me.
Yeah.
No, this is still me.
But this is my new.
No, this is still me.
Pledge. My new pledge, and you can constantly. It's also.
So it can be independent of that. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
It can be independent of whatever action is in front of you.
Sure.
So, really cutting those cords, cutting those tethers from whatever it is that's going on,
mm-hmm.
that's where our real power lies,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because, well, anyway, I interrupted you.
No, you're totally fine. It makes me think of, again, like the hardest thing I think to break free from for a lot of people, and this was me for a very long time, this is why I understand how difficult it is, and maybe nobody else has this issue, it's just me, but I think like when I read, people's concerns, is again, it comes down to the social construct of what's the expectation, what am I supposed to do, and if I say something, I got to commit to it. We are not bound to that ever, no matter what. There's one little thing I remember reading somewhere that says the only person I want to be better than is the person I was 5 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And if we need to constantly rewrite ourselves in order to better, because even if we make a great decision, if we look back and we go, I could still make it greater,
mm-hmm.
rewrite that to make it greater, repledge, respond.
Mm-hmm. Respond.
And that's a phenomenal, I think giving even more power to that word makes it feel much more definitive for me. I mean, by definition, that's how it works, right?
Definitive.
Yeah. So
that means definition.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I meant.
Define.
Yeah, I just defined the word, and so cool.
With the word. The same word.
But it's exciting because it gives the word more power, and when you have that power to establish for yourself, like that's empowering to you. That's empowering to anybody who decides to choose to do that,
Right, which is why the experience that I had today was like almost pleasant to be in a situation where anger made sense.
Yeah.
It was almost pleasant because I was like, well, that sucked and I'm pissed. And it's also, I'm still me.
Yeah.
I'm still this and I still feel this way and I still see it this way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
mm-hmm.
it wasn't something that my relationship with this individual didn't have to change.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody had to do anything
mm-hmm.
drastic, or that wasn't necessary, because my response, my repledge was, I didn't like what happened there, but that isn't something that I'm attaching to my performance or yours, in fact. You know what I'm saying? That's something that happened.
Sure.
That's an activity. That's an action that happened between us, I saw.
Mm-hmm.
But do I need to label you as it? No, of course not. It was an action.
Yeah.
Do I need to label me as it? No. What's the wisdom in that?
Yeah.
What's the wisdom in that? So I really see the response versus reaction
mm-hmm.
to be a very powerful concept.
Yeah.
Very powerful concept.
Literally takes anything that happens to you, and you can say, I relinquish control, or I command exactly what my next step is.
And responsiveness is just, it's based in integrity.
Yeah.
It really is based in, I'm rooted. This is where I stand. This is how I do so.
Mm-hmm.
These are the parts of me that I choose to not be waverable.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it too.
I like it very much. That's really, it makes me feel empowered too, because like it rewrites and redefines a concept that I have known, but it makes it more potent, because it makes me understand it further. It gives me a deeper, like, again, command of how to do it, and not just, I can choose, but I'm literally getting to rewrite my script, and that's really cool. How does this character act in the play? Oh, well, he does this. Does he always do that? Okay, well, either yes or no. You like it or you don't.
Yeah.
You can change that. Moment's notice.
Right. Well, what was it that you said in Conversations with God? What was the phrase that you said stuck with you the most about this? You said it just a few minutes ago.
It was basically, I don't know like what phrase specifically, but you can either choose to respond or choose to react, right? It was just something in that. I don't remember like the exact wording.
That's a great book.
But it's phenomenal.
Read it. If you haven't read Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh, highly recommend it. And another one is The Four Agreements.
Four Agreements, you told me about last time.
Don Miguel Ruiz.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and these are books that they're not asking you to become religious. They're not asking you to turn into a Christian. They're not asking you to like. They're
go
literally
be Buddhist. Go be this man.
Like inviting you to re-examine everything that you are, everything that you want.
It's an invitation to here. Why don't you deconstruct the things that make you feel bad that you believe?
Mm-hmm.
Take the things that don't feel good you believe about yourself. Deconstruct those. see if you really agree with what it is those moving parts are, put it back together how it makes sense for you.
Do you believe it? Why do you believe it? Who told you to believe it?
Who told you to believe
usually, that's the biggest part, is who give you this idea.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Definitely.
And every one of us has been there. Every single person has been through that. You know?
We're all there this week with a lot of the media stuff and the racial.
It's a very difficult.
We're all there now.
Yeah.
What does race even mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like what is a country? I mean, we draw these imaginary lines in the sand and call them different things.
It's literally everything exists based on relativity and boundaries that we've constructed 100%, literally nothing more.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a green apple and a red apple. You don't really think about it. They're just apples. God.
That's how I think of it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But in terms of people.
Yeah. There's this divide. The divide is massive.
We do this hierarchy thing, and we're seeing it. I mean, I think we're all, if we're kind of hooked into the media and the news lately, seeing and examining that for ourselves and what we feel. And I mean, open up any news site, open up any social media site, and you're going to see comment after comment, idea after idea, some conflicting, some agreeing that. I mean, the spectrum, the gamut is vast.
Yeah.
Vast.
It's amazing to see what everybody's ideas are, because based on your background, based on your parents, based on your grandparents, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, whoever it was that influenced you to learn how to think these things, whether they're constructive or they're destructive. There's a huge variety. It's interesting, like sort of actively always going away from the words right and wrong, because again, that's the social construct. It's all 100% relative. It exists strictly relative, where killing is good in one sense and it's bad in another. Where defense is good in one, and like everything has a yin and a yang, and we get to decide, or we choose to, well, in what way does it make sense? When is it okay for me to do this, and when is it not okay for me to do the exact same thing? Yeah, but it's all we've made that. It just exists. They're just verbs. The verbs we give power constantly in different directions. Fascinating.
You look like you're fascinated. You look like you're just light bulbing.
Well, see, let me tell you something about my day. Is because earlier you said every day should be having a blast, because I tend to take on so much stuff that it can be easy for me to forget that. So I was at work today, did my thing, came home, relaxed on the couch, like I'm gonna chill for a little bit, then I'm gonna go for a run later, and then I might do this, might do that, whatever. And then I heard some nonsense downstairs. I was like, oh man, like
nonsense.
There's a cat, because I put like those puppy pads down so the cats would pee on them instead of peeing all over my floor. And I'm trying to figure out exactly hopefully to descent the area a little bit more while I'm cleaning it, put the pads down. But I heard like pads, and I was like, which cat is this? Because it's gonna drive me nuts, because Revolver's next to me and I don't want it to be Penelope or something. I saw Penelope over by the stairs. I thought, was this Pee-Pee? Oh God, because Larry's over there. But I walked downstairs, and on that little bucket, like with my mop, there was a bird. Somehow, I don't know how a bird got in my house, because I don't have any open windows, and maybe through the kitty door somehow, but there was a little bird, and like it was just sitting there. I mean, it looked, kind of like scared, but it wasn't moving. It wasn't running away. It wasn't flying away.
Like the Roadrunner?
I wasn't jogging upstairs.
It wasn't jogging.
Yeah. And so I went into the bathroom and got like some of my my gloves. And I went downstairs to try to catch it very gently so I could, release it. And the bird looked frazzled. Maybe like it had, been like in a tussle, but it wasn't bloody. It wasn't like injured. And so I grabbed it. It was squeaking. It was freaking out. And the poor thing looked so panicked and scared. And so I walked outside with it. I just pet its head, said some reassuring words, walked over to the grass by the street and let it go, flew into a bush, and it flew away. And I was like, we're good. And that moment right there, actually, like, I don't know if just the bird just shits endorphins when it takes off, but I felt so good. And not just because I, helped this thing get out, but, like, it's scary to think that there are situations where a bird could get picked up by somebody and somebody could just throw it on the ground or crush it or do something terrible. But this bird had no choice. I was literally like, its life was in my hands. And to be able to allow it to like live free, and hopefully another day, hopefully 10 more, 20 more, hopefully however long it can. I just looked at that and I thought, we have such an interesting command of power that we're constantly choosing to try to do the right thing, right? And I was happy that this thing had no way to thank me. It had no way to express that. And I didn't need those. but I was just happy that the bird was okay.
Except for all the endorphins that it shot.
Except for, like, I'm glad it made me feel better by shooting endorphins on me. But actually, I went to church with my parents this last weekend, and they brought up a really interesting point. And, this is a verse you hear all the time, but do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, right? And I'd heard that a lot as a kid. And I just remember, like, thinking, like, I don't get it, right? Because, like, I didn't have any context for it. As a kid, I wasn't paying attention. I just heard something like, oh, I can relate because it's a body part. Like, and that's as far as it went. But it ended up being, like, a really interesting concept of, like, do what you need to do, but you don't need to, like, tell the world, And it was interesting because, again, it came sort of down to integrity of, like, what are you doing? And is it the right thing for you? You don't need to, like, let everybody else know. Just do it if that's in line with you. Don't publicize it. Don't get going to be the superhero all day. And we want to get we want to get recognized for accomplishments. We want to, like, people to know that we're good, because we.
But why? It really begs the question of what is my intention in being seen?
Am I doing it for the attention? Again, because that's the thing, is the social construct of adulting is I want to look successful. So if I'm doing something good, I'm successful in that regard, at least. Right?
Yeah.
Whether it's, hey, look, I got a fancy new car, or hey, I freed a baby bird, like, or whatever it is, like, how much do you want to put it out there that you're just like, I'm very stand-up.
I'm such a stand-up.
I am so great. I am so great.
Everybody loves me. I am so great.
Yeah, see? And
did you ever see that? Did I ever show you
that?
You
did, yeah, actually, and I've watched it. Actually,
it's Bart Simpson, and he has, and it's when he's little, he's a little kid, and he's got, like, a pot or a pan on his head, and he has a pot and a pan in each hand, and he's banging them together, and he's running around the house going, I am so great.
Celebrate.
I am so great. Everybody loves me. I am so great.
The picture actually popped up on feed the other day and reminded me of that. Because you're the one who really introduced me to that, because,
It makes me think
cake. Yes.
Which we haven't watched.
We need to watch Alf again. I think it's funny to watch shows like that and sort of to take in, like, the activities and the conversations and the nuances of a show like that. Every time you learn something new about yourself, every time you learn, like, they can take on new meanings, and, like, the actual shows in a sense can change based on your understanding of them, and that's so cool to me.
Yeah, because I think about, like, the Golden Girls. That's a show that I've watched when I was a kid, and I watched it some as an adult. Completely different.
Completely.
Because my vision is different.
Yeah.
My sight is different. The filters that I have based on experiences that I've had since I was a child completely alter what that show feels like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As an adult, it's a very different show.
And
it's hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah. It is. No, it's great because, like, it really does highlight a lot of struggles that people have too. I mean, dealing with death and dealing with uncertainty and dealing with loss and dealing with
Roseanne.
Oh,
one of the greatest shows of all time.
Yeah.
And by far one of the best social commentaries. And it was, at the time, it was very, very cutting edge. It was very edgy.
Yeah.
And I mean, she was tackling topics that now are just, normal mainstream to see everywhere. But she was tackling topics like, homosexuality and, affairs in a relationship and, eating disorders.
Kids being shitty, your daughter getting pregnant. Yeah. Like, there was a whole mess of, like,
doing the bare minimum for your kids because you're just exhausted.
Yeah,
tackling these topics that were pretty taboo at the time.
Yeah, people didn't know how to, like, socially, again, the society says, look like you have it together. And when the show calls it out, it's like, this is what it's like when you don't have it together. And everybody relates to it.
Because everybody relates to it, but it's like, whoa, not cool for everybody to relate to this.
Yeah.
Let's pretend that I'm the only exception in the universe.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's fascinating to me to think of how scary it is for people to think that, like, somebody might see them without it altogether.
Yeah.
And it is a scary thing sometimes, but I think it's really also, it's liberating. Liberating is a really good word to use as you sort of let yourself flow by letting things just sort of be and letting yourself struggle and letting people see that, because I think it lets other people be okay with it too, which is really important for them, And it's, I like to talk about how difficult things are for me because I think other people get relieved knowing that I struggle with things constantly.
You know, it's always interesting to read on some of the comments that you'll receive that have to do with, wow, but you always look so happy, or oh, I see you as such a positive, uplifted, you don't seem like you struggle at all with this, that, and the other. I see a lot of that I hear a lot of that about myself too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm a therapist. I get projected on in terms of, I mean, my job is to sit there and be perfectly about you.
Yeah.
Without any cause of concern or anything for myself, consideration for myself in this relationship. It's about this person in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, people love that.
Yeah,
people
right.
Love that. So then I get to be like the best person ever.
Yeah, exactly. Who's the person who knows everything? Oh, her.
But the reality of me is completely different than that.
Yeah.
I remember I had this client. I haven't seen her in quite a while now, but I had this client that she would talk about some of her insecurities, like, you know, body image stuff and intimate relationship stuff and just insecurities that she's had. And, you know, in discussing this with her, I was like, no, I can relate to that. These are, you know, that's a normal, you know, way that you're thinking about that, or that's not strange, or I struggle with that too. And I remember her looking at it. She looked at me this one day and she just like blinked, like blink. She was like, no, I still am going to see you as perfect. And I was like, okay, I don't see that. I don't know how that's helpful. Maybe it is helpful. I don't know, but
I mean, people want to see like a role model. They want to see something to aspire.
They want to see like I could get to that or something like that. And you know, in reality, shoot, like if we accepted ourselves as is every day, all day, then we're all there. That platform, that imaginary platform that we're all looking for, we're all freaking on it.
Yeah.
You know, I can decide that I'm on it now if I want to. From here on out, every day till the day I die, like, oh, I did it.
Yeah.
I am successful. I'm doing a great job. And that's why, for me, and it hasn't lowered my productivity and it hasn't lowered my, you know, my ambition or anything to prioritize how I feel.
Sure.
I want to have a good time today. I want to feel good about what I do. I want to feel good about what other people do. I want to focus on the positive side of things. Doing that, making that my life's work hasn't gotten me paid less money or it hasn't had any consequences that in terms of, you know, knocking me down the social ladder or something like that. It hasn't even touched it. You know, it's literally just become my philosophy of life is, do I feel good? Yes, then I'm doing well. Do I feel bad? Yes, then okay, let's make an adjustment. Because I do believe that the most important thing in life is to be happy, be in alignment with our real self, with our, you know, our highest self, our spiritual self.
The things that we tell ourselves that we want.
Sure.
Yeah, the things that we, and not just tell ourselves, but believe the things that we discover that we truly want.
Well, and what's the reason for wanting something? If it does come from in here, from self, then amen. If it actually comes from being told or taught from the outside that it's important, it's not going to fulfill.
Yeah.
Not going to fulfill.
You're literally fulfilling somebody else's expectation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well.
Bueno,
chili.
Reglas. Rojo.
Red chili.
Red is not a Spanish word.
When I say red chili, it is though. I translated
it. You translated it?
Yeah, halfway.
To Spanglish?
Yeah.
Cool.
I know. Have you like, I like the idea of talking about things that you've seen like as a kid that you re-experience as an adult and it was completely different. Because there's been video games that I've done that with. There are some, and it's interesting because it's not to say that, you know, like, because I don't believe anybody's better or worse than the other. I believe we all have different levels of understanding of where we are, where our struggles are. I was a late bloomer with a lot of this, you know, but at the same time, it was the perfect speed for me because it's what I needed, when I needed, how I needed it. And the situation with my ex-fiance, that's what kickstarted everything for me. The worst situation of my life, the most pain I've ever been in emotionally, was what I needed to kickstart me to being a better person for myself, to understand myself more, and to allow these things to come in. It was like, you know, I literally tore open like this hole in my chest, let all this horrible black bile spill out, and at the same time, all that was doing was letting in like innumerous amounts of just love and compassion and understanding that I garnered from wonderful people, and you being at the forefront of that because you're the one who introduced me to learning about me.
A different way of looking just at self.
Right, exactly. And
That's an amazing time. That was such a cool period of time.
Watching somebody transition like to that degree must have been fascinating.
It's my favorite thing. It's why I do it. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, that's great. That makes me so happy. I was talking with a customer today. A very good friend of mine. Unfortunately, he's actually the one who's going to be moving away later this week. And he used to be a teacher. And he tells me these stories, and he taught down in like the South Valley. And it's one of those things where you get people asking, well, why do you teach those guys? Why do you teach people like that? Why do you teach people who are affiliated with gangs or they don't want to be in school?
What age did he teach?
It was high school.
High school.
And it was because he loved seeing that these people were truly wonderful, loving souls underneath the pain, the hurt, the difficulty. Mm-hmm. And I equated it kind of to you because I said, like we're that beautiful soul, but we have layers to uncover. Some people have a harder time with it than others. Some people just need a different instigator than others. Some people need somebody to help them find how to identify that.
I want to say something about that in terms of, I don't know if I'd even want to put it in terms of some people have a harder time with it than others, but some people have a time with it that is more socially acceptably appropriate from the outside than others, because there's not a difference between, you said just a minute ago that he would get these questions like, why do you teach people like that?
Exactly,
like they, that, them.
Yep.
And
the separation exists again.
It's not a real thing. It's one of those lines in the sand between countries.
Yeah.
Where does France begin? And Spain? I mean, what? Yeah. How do you know?
Right.
Like, what's the difference? It's the same rock, dirt. I mean, it's all the same crap. Mm-hmm. But so, this they and them thing, there's no difference. No difference. We all have pain. We all can relate to pain, to feelings of failure, to feelings of inferiority, to feelings of success, to feel, the whole gamut. And there may be, the culture might really like how this group of people displays it.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And dislike how this group of people displays it.
Yeah.
And call it, hierarchically, but what's the difference between teaching kids like that or teaching kids like that? There's no difference.
No difference.
There's no difference. The only difference is what has the context taught you about the difference? That's it.
Yeah. What I think of with a lot of things like that is it's easy to love that which is easy to love. It's so easy to be like, that's beautiful and pink and wrapped in a bow and presentable. Mm-hmm. Therefore, I'm gonna love that because look how wonderful it is and like it's so gratifying. But the things that need the most love, people that struggle, people that, well, we all struggle, but people that, display a different way, or people that have a harder time with people who will let them struggle, right. Mm-hmm. People who have difficulties or maybe a different life situation or maybe low finances or maybe a broken home. And it's harder for a lot of people to look at that and say, of course I love you. People that have committed heinous acts, people that have, done things that have harmed others. It's hard for people to see that.
If I was only loved when lovable.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be a mess, right? Yeah, that's a finite part of my life.
Yeah.
It's during the struggles, during the parts when I was the ugliest and I needed the most help, during parts where I was not approachable, where I was abrasive, where I was, because I've been through that. I've done that, and I've been a person that I look back and I go, that's not the kind of guy I want to hang out with. That's actually somebody I would probably ask to leave my store. I've been that though. I've been there, and looking back at it, it's interesting to think like why I was like that because I was never really taught it, but I was influenced probably by surroundings. And when it came time for me to change my surroundings, other things changed.
So you weren't taught it. You weren't taught what?
Like to be abrasive or aggressive. And I honestly, I think I probably picked it up from, maybe things online and maybe the way certain mannerisms were, and I thought it was funny. So in a context, I was doing it for a humor value without realizing that it could be like, people could be like, that's just obnoxious and shitty,
Do you remember anything like that where you were emotionally aggressive or and somebody got hurt?
See, I think it was more when I was like in my early 20s.
Okay.
And I never attacked anybody, but like I would say things in response aggressively. Like I would be very defensive about stuff. And when I was defensive, if somebody would say something, immediately it'd be like, well, here's the retaliation because it doesn't even matter if you're attacking me, I'm retaliating. I was reacting.
There's this action, I'm going to take it, cover myself with it like it's shit.
Completely.
And act it out too. I'm a turd also.
Exactly. You're going to throw the turd at me, I'm going to wear the turd.
Yeah.
And I become the turd. Right. Yeah. And so I would do that. And looking back at it now, I go, dang, like that's not a pleasant thing. And I'm glad I'm past that because it was a place I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe it was for the sake of humor again with certain things, and maybe it was defense from being hurt because I didn't want somebody to belittle my opinion, or there's a lot of reasons, of course, all these things come up. Maybe it was afraid of, like, if somebody is going to make a decision where, like, we'll say, for example, I have a disagreement with somebody, I think somebody's going to leave. Okay? Because in my life, the recurring theme is I feel abandoned. And so what it might come down to is, well, if I disagree with this person, there's a chance they might leave me, so I better say something aggressive. That way, if they leave, it's because I called the shot. And I wonder if that was sort of like an underlying thing of, if, you know, you're not going to be my friend anymore. That was never the case. But it would be on my terms, you know. Yeah. I was shitty enough for you to leave, therefore, like, you know, I called that shot instead of, like, you leaving and me feeling bad.
Yeah. That
was probably, like, where a lot of where it comes from.
Well, and perhaps in some ways that last-ditch effort also to, if I can make you feel like you're being absurd or ridiculous, maybe you won't go anywhere.
Right. Yeah, that's also true. I'll belittle you to the point where you stay, which is a really phenomenal concept of, like,
it's the whole power control cycle of domestic violence. I mean, it's at the heart of every best relationship.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, when we broke up and I told you that I wanted you to get squished by, you know, anything heavy, I don't know, like a freight train or like a cargo, like box, whatever, like those big, you know, Green Jeans. Have you been to Green Jeans restaurant?
Yeah, it made me aware that I could be crushed by a big freight train, and then I had to stay.
Yeah, exactly. If I threaten you enough, you die.
I better stay right here.
Right, exactly.
Because a freight train is out there somewhere.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. You know, I'm just looking out for your best interest, Michelle. You know?
But if you don't like that...
Yeah, better stick around. Yeah.
That's funny.
It was.
It was. It was.
It was. Laughing all the way to the bank, baby. Yeah, that's right. That's how I got rich. I'm so glad you deal with me. Like, I like that. See, one of my favorite things about you is, again, you've always accepted me infinitely, literally, for everything I've ever done, you know, because when I was a kid, I was just as weird. When I was growing up and,
you were worse.
12 and 13 years old or whatever, I was just as weird, if not probably way weirder.
A lot worse.
Yeah. And so I would just say things, they were nonsensical. I'd make stuff up, like silly scenarios, stuff that didn't have any bearing on anything at all. And you dealt with it very gracefully. And then even when we got older and then dated like 8 years ago, whatever, it was still weird, because not like you were weird or I was weird, like in a relationship, but because I was just a weird guy and you still just dealt with it.
I think the prime example is the grocery store. When we were at the grocery store, it was like in the frozen food section or something, and there was a lady standing maybe 4 feet away from me or something like that. And you, being that you love for me to feel so confident and good about myself, you said to me to make sure that this woman heard.
Yeah, there was a goal, and I met the goal.
This is the grossest thing anybody's ever said to me. You said to me, Michelle, you need to douche. I can smell you from here.
Yeah. Which is entirely...
And that woman, that poor woman who was standing next to me is like, she was horrified. She was completely... She was in terror for what emotional abuse I was going through, or perhaps what venereal disease I was suffering from, or something. But it was humiliating. And, you know, I feel like in a lot of ways you've sought to top that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Still hasn't done it.
Yeah, that's true.
That was by far the most disgusting thing you've ever said to me, that somebody else really, it was the perfect person to react to it.
Yeah.
She hated what she heard.
She did. And you that's the only time you've ever punched me. Because you punched me in the arm really hard too.
I did?
Yeah. It was funny. Mm-hmm.
and punch you in the face.
You didn't do that? You've never punched me in the face?
No, I've never actually punched anyone in the face.
That's good. I got punched once in college.
Really?
Yep.
Why?
Well, I was dating this girl, and I wanted to get the first tattoo I ever got was Morgan and Lilith on my back, and she didn't want me to get that. And her reaction was actually twofold. Her reaction was to destroy
I remember this story.
She destroyed my Game Boy Color with Pokemon in it, and she punched me in the face, like right in the eyeball. And so, like, for a week, there was like, I think it was actually on the right side, there was like a big black spot in my vision in the bottom, and I just like, for a whole week, and that was terrible.
Because of the tattoo.
Because she didn't want me to get the tattoo, and I was going to get it, but she didn't want me to, so that was her way to convince me to not get it.
Did it work?
Yeah, I didn't get it. No, basically though, I mean, what was interesting is I broke up with her shortly thereafter, and it wasn't just because she punched me, but it's because she destroyed my Game Boy. My eyeballs heal, but like we were like laying in bed and having like an argument, and she grabbed my Game Boy and she threw it into her closet, and I just watched pieces like fly out of the closet, and I was like, "That's it." Like, I mean, not even like right then and there, but like, you know, I assessed the situation for like a day or two, and finally one day I was over at her house helping her clean, and her stepsister or whatever came over, and in the middle of cleaning, I just put all my stuff into a box and left because I was like, you know, I was like 21 at the time too.
I remember having this experience. I think I was 19 or so, and I was dating this guy who was a total idiot. He's a wonderful man. But at the time,
yeah, I was gonna say,
we were 19 and 21, so we were
everybody's idiots at that age. Yeah.
So we were going through the Wendy's drive-thru, and I asked for like a crispy chicken sandwich or something with no mayo.
Idiot.
And yeah, I'm an idiot. I was just so stupid.
So dumb.
Look at the way I was thinking.
Yeah.
And so when he got to the window, he asked, for a crispy chicken sandwich, but he didn't remember to say no mayo. So we're driving up. I was like, could you ask her to, right when we get up to the window, could you ask her to make one with no mayo or something like that? And he got so mad, and he's like, I'm not made of money. How many chicken sandwiches do you want me to buy you? I was like, oh my gosh, I just wanted one. I was just asking
to be modified appropriately.
To let her know. And he was so mad. He was like, forget it, I'll just buy two. And he did. And he was
he is made of money.
So mad. And I remember going, what's going on? Why is this guy so pissed off? It was a fabulous experience.
Can you think of times, because like, I mean, hearing something like that, like your reaction is we're in the norm.
I thought it was hilarious.
And then this guy like spews like a volcano at you.
Hilarious. And so, it was hilarious.
Like, have there ever been times where you're on the other end and you have reacted to something totally inane, and like the guy was probably like, what is wrong with you?
Oh, sure.
We've all been there, right? Every one of us. Every one of us.
That just happened to be a day where I was sort of balanced emotionally and mentally somehow. That day, I was 19, so it didn't happen often.
Yeah.
But that day, I was all right. So it was really funny to me. I was kind of in this good place where I was like, wow, look at that. Mm-hmm. Which looked really mature, but it was actually just a snapshot when I was 19.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had experiences where it was me on the other end freaking out, wigging out over nothing. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yep.
It's interesting because I look back into relationships, and it's always very easy, especially in the heat of everything, to be like, you're nuts, or you're doing this wrong and I'm doing everything correctly. That's a base instinct for a lot of us when we get into the situations, is to, what's wrong with you? Why are you acting like this? Why are you doing this when I'm doing the right thing? It's very easy to get caught up in that thought process.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You're overreacting.
Yep.
You're acting crazy.
Yep.
These things that we say in arguments that don't help.
No, there's literally...
It doesn't help.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of gaslighting?
Yes, I have. It's a terrifying and terrible concept that I'm sure is the reason that happens is because it's effective. Is because people can use it to manipulate like crazy. And it's so upsetting to like try to trick somebody's emotions into doing exactly what you want.
It's gnarly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gaslighting.
Mm-hmm. It's a pretty powerful word too. Like just hearing about that like makes me think like that's
It comes from that play. I think it's called The Gaslight, and it's about this man. He's married. He starts, I think, because he's having an affair or he wants her dead or something. I don't remember, but to mess with his wife's head, he starts like turning down the gas and the lights. And making her think that her vision is going or something like that. He's trying to make her think that she can't see clearly or think clearly or there's sounds happening up there. And he's like, what? I don't hear anything. But he has something going on intentionally to make her, he's trying to make her crazy. So she's having these sensations and he's like, what? No, nobody sees what you see. Nobody hears what you hear.
Right.
What's wrong with your eyes? What's wrong with your ears? There's something wrong with you. Like making her think that she's crazy. And eventually she does believe it. And that's one of the things that people are starting to become aware of is this trend in some of our more emotionally disturbing relationships, where somebody has an experience and person over here is like, what?
Yeah.
Why? That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
That is so illogical. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
Making that person feel like question themselves and question their reality and question their emotions and their own psychology. And, what little by little that will erode somebody's confidence in their own judgment or their own emotional guidance.
Yeah.
It's a crazy, crazy dynamic.
Yeah.
Yep.
People done that to you?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Scary.
It's pretty funny.
I mean, thrilling.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
It's like, what?
It's like being on a roller coaster. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. You just throw your arms up in the air and
just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, have fun. Have a good
nice.
time with it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I've had that happen.
Good. Yeah, it's a scary thing, because people want to be in control. People want to have the power. They don't want their partner to leave them, so they do something to
If I lessen you, if I make you less, then maybe
you'll realize what you are without me, and it's not good enough.
Yeah.
Therefore, you need me.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, what's the funniest thing that happened to you this week?
The funniest thing?
Yeah. What's something hilarious this week?
Oh gosh. Funny. I don't know if funny things ever happened to me.
Never? Have you ever laughed?
No.
Do you know what it is?
No.
Laughter?
Mm-mm. It sounds dumb. I bet dumb people do it a lot.
It's laughter. I think is funny because it's like this forcing of air.
Yeah.
That stops.
Yeah.
Incrementally. Ha 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 ha.
What I like about it is how good it feels. Like, why does it feel good? So it feels great to laugh. Like, it feels. That's the best emotion to me is laughter, and something funny. And I like making myself laugh.
I love laughing.
So I do it all the time. I draw pictures, or I write something up, and I look back at it, and I just laugh, and I go, why am I funny? Why do I think I'm funny? Because it might not be to anybody else, but to me, like.
Do you remember the picture you drew of the guy raping the duck?
I've found so many of those.
And his penis was coming out the duck's mouth because it was so big.
Was it like? And chances are, like, it wasn't like a straight shot. It like went through the duck's intestines or whatever, then up its neck and then outward. Probably, right? Yeah, that's the problem. I've actually drawn a lot of things like that. It's in my days. I got in trouble in middle school. I was a very unruly child. It was only when I got to college that like actually started like shaping up a little bit.
I think it's funny that you used to draw a lot of stuff like that because you didn't. It's not like you were sexually active.
No.
Or remotely close to it.
Nope.
At the time.
No. Not at all.
It,
no.
Lots of pictures about sex.
Well, middle school and high school, even elementary school. I remember there was a picture in like one of our little workbook activity books, and it was like a boy and a girl standing across the room from each other, and I just drew lines from one's crotch to the other's mouth on both sides. That was good enough for me, and I got in trouble. Yeah. Like, it was things like that constantly. It's always been a fascination of, like, I guess, peeing into each other's mouths or, things pooping. I've drawn Spider-Man pooping and the Hulk pooping. Or things throwing up or getting, like, their brains blasted out.
You're a weird guy.
I know, right?
Whoa.
Yeah. Have a lot of fun drawing weird things.
That's great.
Yeah. I like exercising.
Exercising.
Am I right? Yeah.
Have you been working out lately?
Not the past couple of weeks. I've been working so much. But I got back into it today because I went on a run.
That's good.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm actually gonna go to the gym, but that's something else that helps me like feel much better. A big thing that I see, I would like actually to like dedicate like an entire day to talking about this, like a whole day, 24-hour podcast. Is I saw it was like a tweet or something that said, my doctor says to cure my anxiety and depression, I just have to like eat better and socialize more and go work out and do all the other things that anxiety prevents me from doing. Right? Because it's when you're in that mode, it's hard to get pulled out because you're there. So you don't want to exercise, you don't want to eat right, you don't want to socialize, you don't want to do the things that will make it better. And I know that one thing for me is like, I genuinely, if I'm ever in that place, I have to force myself hardcore. And literally the moment that I begin, it changes.
Truly.
It literally changes for me.
Yeah.
Like, I hate driving to the gym. I hate thinking about it. I hate putting on my gym shorts. I hate getting prepared. The moment I step foot in the gym and I take that breath and I go start grabbing the weights and I start whatever and I get on the treadmill, it changes. It literally, like, there's a transformation, and then I go for an hour and a half, and on my way home, all I can think about is doing more of that because it feels so good. When I get home, I just want to go on another run, or I want to go in my room and do push-ups, or I want to jog up and down the stairs.
Yeah, like you get a momentum going in the way of anxiety or depression.
Yeah.
If you intercept it, turn it towards a different direction, then you're going to build momentum there.
What advice do you have for somebody who looks at the situation and says, I can't start, like I'm too anxiety-riddled to even begin? Because I know for some people, I've got anxiety to a degree where it's not debilitating. But for some folks, it's on a level I've never experienced and I can't comprehend. I've never had panic attacks. I've never had shortness of breath. I've never had like something happen that's so, strong that I literally can't move. And I know people have had those experiences. So I can't speak to that.
What does your anxiety feel like go like? Give me an idea of.
It's weird is I discovered a large element of my anxiety like because I was drinking Monster protein shakes. And they don't have caffeine, but they have a bunch of taurine in them, and I had no idea. So I would drink them, and I'd start feeling really anxious. Like, what's happening? So for me, like, I don't feel like paranoid or like debilitated. I feel like I don't know how to respond to things, or like that something's impending, like something's wrong. Like somebody's upset with me, or something bad's gonna happen, or there's something I didn't finish that I needed to finish. Like I feel sort of like this looming responsibility, I guess, or pressure is what it feels like to me. And sometimes to the point where like, I don't want to move. I mean, like I can and I will, but it feels like I'd rather just sit on the couch and like watch Netflix for 10 hours and then fall asleep because I don't want to have to deal with it.
Yeah. So this is going to sound maybe simplistic, but anxiety that is really intense, the word I want to use is the one I just used, which is momentum. There's been a momentum built towards that level of anxiety.
Sure.
And to intercept it, it's not always the easiest thing to do. And again, this is going to sound simplistic, but I mean, you said it yourself a little bit ago. Once you get yourself in a different crack yourself into a different mind frame alignment, that one loses its grip.
It's literally that first step.
I mean?
Yeah.
So there are two things that I do. And one of them being, and so I'm not really speaking to the severe panic disorder stuff. I mean, that's actually something that, go see a professional.
Sure.
There's some other, approaches that probably need to be brought out. But in terms of just like your run-of-the-mill anxiety that can be kind of crippling and mess with your day and mess with your relationships and stuff.
Yeah.
There are two things that I do. One of them is truly jump ship from whatever thought that is. I have got to distract myself. Stat.
Okay, so like, leave that elsewhere.
Jump ship. Like, and you know what? When we're anxious about something or depressed about something, it feels like I should keep focusing on it because it's important.
Right.
So maybe it's important, but it is not helping.
Yeah.
Like stop.
You're not gonna solve it doing this.
Staring at the thing that's creating anxiety and depression. Stop staring at it. Take a freaking break from it. Like, so to jump ship and to think, talk, do something else that's not similar.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if you were just really depressed and anxious and sitting there like feeling like that, then yeah, go do something physical. Like get yourself in a different frame of yourself.
If I can't go to the gym, I clean.
That's a good.
I turn on the music.
And does it work?
It helps.
Okay.
Tremendously. It keeps me focused. I give myself a task and I say, finish that task.
The other thing that I do, and I actually did this today, and it felt kind of inexplicable, but I had a lot of anxiety today. It was maybe noon or so, and I was like, "What's up?" Like, what's up with me today? Yeah. I just felt something, and I didn't even figure out what it was. Because again, it's maybe something important is going on, but I know that sitting and trying to figure out what's making me upset, and then I start looking for, is it that thing I hate? Is it that thing I hate?
Yeah.
Is it that thing I hate? Let me just look at all of them and see which one it is.
Yeah.
It's not going to help me. So what I did, I actually went home. I had a few hours and I went to sleep.
That helps too,
I
think.
Like, I mean, I was asleep maybe 10 minutes, I woke up and I was like, okay, it's gone. You know what I mean? And in that split second when I first wake up, you have that sort of clearness where you can be like, okay, do I want to pick up that same momentum again, or do I want to go with something else?
Yeah.
So
it allows you to step away.
Yeah. So immediately like jolted myself into just a different mind frame, because, you have the option of going back into the same mind frame that you're in before, but jump ship one way or another. The easiest way for me to do it is to fall asleep, even if it's just for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Get my consciousness off. And if I can't do that, or I'm not in a situation where where I'm able to do that, then jump ship and get my consciousness somewhere else then.
Sure.
If I can't turn it off, like flip it around and point it that way instead.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it takes practice, and it feels so counterintuitive, because we really do feel like if something's wrong, I need to keep with it until I fix it.
Figure it out, yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think so. When did you paint this room purple?
A couple of years ago.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I never noticed that was purple. I thought all of it was black.
Yep. No, this is because this room used to be straight up white, and I ended up painting it purple for the accent and black for everything else about like 3 or 4 years ago.
I don't know why, but for some reason I don't remember there being any purple.
Well, I don't have to tell you.
You did it today, huh?
I did. Yeah, just this afternoon. I'm gaslighting you.
Gaslighting.
You also, this is one thing I've noticed, is if somebody has a hard time falling asleep, because I have trouble sleeping, unless I'm absolutely beat. But you can fall asleep at like the drop of a hat. It's insanity. I mean, there's times where like we'd be going to bed, you'd get into bed and literally within 30 seconds you're out, and that's impressive. Or you'd be in the middle of eating. This has happened, ladies and gentlemen. So when Michelle first came back here 2.5 years ago, you ended up getting surgery.
I moved in with John for a little while. I was having like some personal issues, going through a breakup. And with the surgery, and so I was helping take care of you for a bit. Right? Okay, and I have a picture. I'll probably post this at some point because it's good. But I love that picture.
It's hilarious because I would pamper you, and I'd get you lots of Jell-O or Diet Coke or a box of Goldfish or bag of chips, whatever it was. And I think it's a box of Goldfish in this particular picture. And we were watching probably football or something. And you had like this huge bandage or like around your head, and your nose.
I had my wisdom teeth out.
You had your wisdom teeth out.
My septum like.
Yeah, your septum got fixed.
I was all jacked up.
Your eyes were like bruised and black underneath.
I was hot.
You looked like
gorgeous.
You had like gotten in a gang fight and just totally lost every single punch. And you're sitting there like wounded and bandaged, and with her hand just in the box of Goldfish, just totally asleep. And in the middle of like watching TV, she's just eating, and then some point between bites, done. Yeah, just straight asleep.
He took a video too where I'm snoring. I have my hand in this box of Goldfish, and I'm all
just straight done. Yeah, so you can fall asleep very easily. I know I have a difficult time.
A lot of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. So, do you meditate?
I've been working on thinking about it, actually. Well, that is my thing. Is I went to a hot yoga class a couple weeks ago, and I absolutely loved it. It made me want to get back into it. It was by Evolve. Down off of like I want to say Candelaria and Carlisle area.
Okay.
I think. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But it was a really nice little place. And the other night, actually, I had some stuff I wanted to do, but I had like an hour to kill beforehand. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to meditate. And unfortunately, I actually couldn't find my little yoga mat because I like using that. And I wanted to set my alarm. But then I also like was looking at my alarm and I was like, I don't want to have something that's jarring and gets me out of it. I want something that gradually sort of like pulls me away from like doing this. Because I know every time I've actually sat down to meditate,
you'll get there and then it's all big.
Yeah, but I love it when I get there.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to teach you something.
Teach me something.
Okay. So in some of the whoops.
Nope. I'll get that later.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So electromagnetic pulsings that happen in the brain, what we've seen and scientists have been able to measure is the speed of a conscious thought and the speed of an unconscious impulse. Now, the speed of a conscious thought, it's very rapid. It's about, what is it? I want to say it was, oh crap. I want to say it was 1,000 miles an hour.
Weird.
Like a conscious thought.
Yeah.
An unconscious thought was something like over 100,000 miles an hour. Like, it's not as fast as the speed of light, speed of sound, but it's a hell of a lot faster than the conscious mind.
It's faster than I can walk.
It's a little faster than you can walk.
I can walk at like 98,000 miles per hour, but I can't walk 10,000. 100,000, sorry.
100,000?
100,000, yeah.
100,000 miles per hour.
Yeah.
But so in looking at the speed, it's kind of like this. You have two buzzers. You have your conscious mind with a hand over a buzzard, and you have your unconscious mind with a hand over a buzzer. And whichever one gets there first gets the behavior.
Sure.
Like gets to influence the behavior.
Okay.
And so your unconscious mind is like gets it every time. Yeah. And your conscious mind's like
yeah, nice and slow. Okay.
which is how we get into these situations where we're like, why do I keep doing the same things over and over and over again? So meditation, I mean, the value in that is that it gets your conscious mind into a place where it can actually have better influence over that. And it slows down your unconscious. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Very, very, very powerful. Meditation is something that, these things that when you ask me advice or something like that about things, and I'm giving you these simplistic answers, I'm telling you, these things really are magic.
Yeah.
They're better than any meditation, better than any anti-anxiety pill. These little techniques and little ways of refocusing and using different perspective lenses for when you're looking at a situation or a person, these really are what heals something and can change a mind, change a life direction, change a trajectory. So, they sound simplistic, but man, meditate.
I think the hardest thing for people, and this is when I learned that simplicity is really the best, when literally the less you can do for the same result, the better, is that we overcomplicate things because we see a situation and we think if we put more effort or more focus onto it, that's the better result. Because if it's too simple, I must be doing something wrong. When in all actuality, it's literally that simple, and we muck it up because we put too much garbage on top of it.
Well, it's the difference between do I want to swim upstream?
Yeah.
Or should I just kind of like, I'll float?
Yeah.
To where it takes me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What are you gonna do? Like swim, like try harder to go. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't snowboard up the mountain.
That would be nuts.
I can't do it.
Also, so when you were talking about the meditation thing, I was totally listening, and I could regurgitate everything you said, which is good. But at the beginning, I was trying not to laugh.
Why?
Because I thought of walking at 98,000 miles per hour. Is that classified as walking if you're going that speed? Like,
well, it depends on what is the actual, mechanics that your legs are doing. Because running, you go like this.
Sure.
With your knee, and walking, it's more like this.
Okay, so it's like with a knee motion.
You have to slow it down and see what your body's doing.
If you're going 98,000 miles per hour,
speed walk.
The distance between each step of a walk would be thousands of miles.
That, or you're just like
across the United States in like 2 steps.
Or no, not necessarily. Or you could be going the same like stride that you always go, only freaking ridiculous fast.
I don't know.
I'll do it my way, and you do it your way. Why Do it how you want to.
Just go walk 10,000 miles per hour at your own speed.
Just do it your way. I don't care.
Fine.
I don't care how you do it. Whatever. Nobody cares. Why are you laughing so hard?
I don't know. Because it's so efficient to do it that way. I don't know why we don't all do it. Like we buy gas and we waste a bunch of money. We're so stupid.
It's you.
We're so inefficient. Why does it happen?
What is the matter with him?
Whew.
It's a conspiracy to keep our economy.
Keep the money flowing.
The
government regulates our walking speed, so we have to buy gas.
I think that's what's happening.
I think so too.
I think that probably we just haven't really tried because we didn't even know we could do it.
Maybe there's like metal rods like in our legs, and if there's too much friction, like we sort of like slow down or something, so that way they can keep us in check. I think that's gotta be it.
That was great. How's your stomach?
It's kind of chubby, but I'm working on it.
What did you eat for dinner?
Lean Pocket. It's garlic white chicken
you're
pizza.
Chubby?
Yeah.
I've gained a few pounds lately too. Yeah.
Well, maybe it's poop. Then you get rid of it later.
Okay.
I poop at least like a pound.
You do?
A pound of poop?
A pound? Yeah. Have you you weigh it?
I don't weigh the poop. You can weigh yourself before and after a poop, you know.
Do you do that?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Well, I learned that's how you weigh your pets.
Oh yeah, you hold them and then you weigh yourself.
Yeah. So that's how I weigh my poop, so you can make sure I have a good BM.
I weigh my poop like I weigh my pets.
Yeah, well, yeah, or you could weigh it like you'd poop into a bedpan and then put it in the scale, like the food scale. Those are more accurate, and they're silver. Not like actual silver, but like steel.
Oh shoot.
Yep.
All right. So, what else? Have we invited people to ask questions?
Yes. If anybody does, at any point, we invite literally everybody to ask. And we sort of like went on a weird tangent about
Feel
walking.
free to interrupt us.
Yeah, because we're just talking about whatever, and it's a very free-flowing conversation. And we want to talk about your issues if you have any, or if you want to ask us about our issues. I've got plenty of them. Or just chime in with whatever. Because I like having people interact with us, otherwise we'll just keep going and eventually it degrades into like this weird
I know
Twilight Zone conversation about a man on Mars who walks at 98,000 miles an hour. You know what's interesting? I've actually been watching that show.
What?
Twilight Zone.
Oh.
A lot. It's on Netflix right now. And this show fascinates me. This is one of those kinds of things where like they actually have, interesting sort of like poignant episodes every now and then where they talk about like man's quest for this or spirituality that, or like, what have we been searching for all along? And it's like this surreal, cerebral interpretation of something that's totally falsified.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really fun because again, with like, certain video games and movies, it's one of those situations where now that I've come to like a level of understanding where it is beneficial to me and my spirit and soul, I can look at certain works of media and go, oh, whoever wrote that or whoever directed this, or whoever, made this, they understand too. Like they get that. Like they, that's like the wavelength that I'm now sharing.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting to see things in a perspective that's, mutual, that I never would have seen before.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm really bored.
You're really bored.
With what you're talking about.
It's because it's too cool. You're on a different level.
Yeah. John, how do you feel about being single?
Right now, I like it a lot, actually. I mean, it's not to say that I wouldn't like a good situation that like makes sense, but it's something that I don't want to like seek out and push for. I want it to make sense, And so for right now, I'm infinitely okay with it,
Infinitely?
I'm infinitely okay at this moment. Like I have no problems currently.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's nice being at peace with that because I love a good relationship.
Because you weren't always.
No, there's a lot of times when I very much struggled with wanting to find companionship, really wanting that. And of course, it's not to say that I don't want it, but it's not something that I need to function fully. you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely been times where it's like, you know, if I had this person in my life to help be there with me and support me and, you know, love me, that I could do better. I've thought that before, you know, for sure. But right now I'm at a place of extreme peace where it's me and my cats, and I've got no obligations or responsibilities to anything other than the store and my own like sanctum.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very nice knowing that. So right now I'm great with it. But you know, like say tomorrow, if the situation comes along and they meet some person and it just makes complete sense, and they just go, holy crap, like I want to pursue this.
I'm glad that you've gotten to a peace about it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's good.
For a very long time, I think I pursued it on principle rather than like, you know, what do I really need for me? You know, am I getting it to fill the hole, which, you know, we know doesn't work.
That's what she said.
Yeah, woohoo, hey, yeah. I played the bass.
Question.
Oh, gosh, okay.
This isn't for you. You can't read it. Question for Michelle only. John, get out. Okay. Today I say goodbye to a friend. Never really hung out with, but is identified with. Okay. Person who's helped me through very hard times. I ultimately aspire to be more like. I need you to read this.
Wait.
Question is, how can I properly thank this person upon my departure? Okay. Wow, that brought up for me. That was crazy. That brought up for me that a situation where I had that exact same thing happen, where I said goodbye to somebody that I didn't spend a ton of time with, but was really one of the most influential people in my life. That completely transported me back to that feeling. So wow, I wonder if I'm identifying really well with what it is that you're experiencing right now. So I'm curious about what's the medium of communication that you've mainly had with this person. Has it been something that's online? Has it been something that, you know, what is the way that you have interfaced with this person, and how have they become significant to you? Like if you could give me a little bit more information about that, because I do have some ideas, but I'm curious. So did you read that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We had like another comment actually on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna find the information on that because it was actually talking about the anxiety. So that's something I'm interested in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What did they say?
We will find out. I got to see if we can get over to it. If we can find out exactly where it shows up on the phone. Let's see here. So while you're assessing that, I'm gonna see if I can find this. Let's see how I can actually find it from the podcast.
Okay.
I posted it to actually YouTube.
Okay. So Kellen, I want to say to you that there are two things that come up for me significant about your question. One of them being that maybe it's something you want this person to know, that you want them to be aware of how you feel about them and the way that they impacted you. And maybe there's that other side of it for you, that you just have the need to express it yourself. Because sometimes I think that we, you know, to convey to somebody what they mean to us and their value to us is important, but sometimes we really need to get that out, because holding something really, really significant all to ourselves, it doesn't feel good. We're not really built as human beings to hold things that are very, very painful or very, very pleasurable all by ourselves. Left to our own devices, I don't think things can fully get experienced the way that is best. So, you know, first off, I mean, I would write this down. I would sit down and write through, why is this person significant to me? Everything about it. And what is it I want to say to this person? What do I feel like this person gave me? What do I feel like this person maybe helped me to eliminate in, you know, within myself that has impacted me so greatly? So the first thing that I would do is definitely journal this out. And in looking at that, that can give you some idea of what about this information, what about this content is just for me and myself to know about the value of this person, and what about this content do I want this person to know, kind of a thing. Let's see. Oh, wow. I had one of the best conversations in person with him today. An hour spent with the guy spent with the man next to you. I will miss him. I love today. Wow. That's cool. That's cool. So this individual is definitely a words person, a very verbal person. And you may know that. You may know that about him. So write it. Definitely. That's neat. Huh. Okay. So also, Callan, I'm curious, are you wanting to stay in touch with this individual in a way that you don't feel like you can? I mean, what was the goodbye about, I wonder? Goodbyes are a really interesting experience, I think, because they always, we're faced with this idea of measuring value. Joy and sorrow are kind of the same thing. Like, they're two sides of one coin, because whether you're really joyful that you're spending time with somebody and laughing and having a good time and valuing that person close up, or there's a grief because that person is gone or that situation has been extracted from your life, either way, what we're doing is we're feeling the measure of that worth of that person and that relationship. So, joy and sorrow, they're so inseparable. They're so inseparable, such inseparable things. So yeah, again, like, I would write out, what is the sorrow about, and saying goodbye to you. What were the joys that I've had with you? And verbalize. John, where did you go? What are you doing?
I was trying to figure out how to get that comment back.
Get me one.
People. Wow.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I saw it and it looked really good.
Well, it was good. No, what I was actually going to say is the person who actually wrote in about anxiety.
You didn't have to leave.
Okay.
What?
They're going to have to either like text in or like message me some other way.
Why did you leave the room?
Because I was trying to figure out on the other computer how to get that to work.
Oh.
Because I couldn't view it from my phone. I thought like it'd be like the comments, but a YouTube comment I can't see until the video is posted.
Oh.
And so I'm trying to figure out.
It's just perfect timing.
Perfect timing. So whoever actually wrote that YouTube comment in, I can put my phone number out there and somebody can text me, or they're gonna have to like write into like the question and answers kind of thing, because I am not sure about, like, I can't see it until the video's done.
John, what would you say is your top love language?
I'm top?
Yes. Do you remember what they are?
Yeah, I do. Touch is a very large one for me.
Ugh.
Yeah. Like, if my finger is not halfway in your butt, I don't love you.
Okay.
That's be all the way in.
Okay.
Is there something wrong with that?
No, I just want the truth. I'm like actually curious. Is this poop?
Yeah. It was on my keychain, but like the whole thing book up at the top. So I know touch is a big one, but I don't remember like how to describe them. The one that
there's the words of affirmation.
I think words of affirmation.
Quality time.
Mm-hmm.
Physical touch, receiving gifts, and acts of service.
Words of affirmation.
Words. Verbal.
Yeah.
Verbal.
Yeah.
Do you see that comment? The finger in the butt is best. I think that means you have to.
Yeah. I know.
Put your finger in my butt.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not unaware of this. That's how I communicate.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so words of affirmation.
Yes.
Being your top one.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's number one for you?
Yeah, probably. I honestly think like it's that or touch.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be interchangeable between the two depending on mood, but like those are the top two for sure. Because I don't really care about like acts of service.
You are very touch. That's true.
Very touch.
I think
extremely.
I think words. If I were to, X-ray you and tell you what I think.
Yeah.
I think words is first for you.
Probably. Yeah, words and touch are definitely the top two.
Words are first for me, which is probably a lot of why we've always connected well.
Mm-hmm.
Because words is my top one. Quality time is my second one.
I hate spending time with you, but I like touching you. It's really difficult. I mean, we're not like dating or anything, but like as friends too.
Yeah.
Like I want to touch you, but like you need to be at least
just put your finger in my butt as a friend.
A mile away. Yeah.
A mile away.
Yeah.
I want to touch you, but I don't want you anywhere near me.
Yeah, if you use like some sort of weird like synthetic like okay. So this is gonna sound really strange.
Okay.
You need to put some sort of like synthetic like reader on your stomach, and then when I'm a mile away, I can feel it, and it actually feels like it's pushing into you, and it gives me the same resistance as if I'm pushing into your stomach.
No.
Yeah, I guess that's how I reaffirm. No. It doesn't matter if no. It's how it's gonna happen. Rape culture. That's scary. Yeah, I don't like this. Never mind. I'm done with that.
You are supposed to be one of my besties. You're threatening.
You're supposed to be one of mine.
I'm not, though.
Don't let. Oh, yeah.
I'm not, though.
That's fair.
I hate you.
Yeah, that's.
Thank you, by the way.
You're welcome.
Why did that make you laugh so much?
Because you just go get me one. I don't mind.
I think it's really rude that you came in here without one for me.
You had a Diet Coke, Pepsi.
I threw it on the ground empty.
Oh, right. Never mind. Sorry. That was your indication that you wanted the water.
I was finished with this.
I should have picked up on that.
You're stupid.
So you didn't communicate well enough with me.
Mm.
That was an act of service that I couldn't read.
Because I didn't use my words.
You didn't use your words.
Yeah, I didn't verbalize to you.
Yeah. You put your finger in my butt. I was like, how am I supposed to know she wants water? There's nothing up there. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to think about the love languages and how they can vary from person to person just so much.
Yep. Her finger's not in my butt. How did I know she was thirsty?
Does she really like me? Yeah. I don't feel anything. Poop is coming out with no resistance. Is she into me? What? Just saying. This podcast is allowed to go there. We don't really do that often, but it's allowed to. We have that kind of rapport.
Mm-hmm. I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot that you and I have. I don't know if there's anything that really would be off limits in terms of topics of conversation for you and me.
Because I think the biggest thing is, and this is something that's very important to establish with anybody that you ever want to communicate with, is safety. Because you never, like, if I bring up any topic, ideally you don't feel threatened. I mean, I can't speak to that, but because of where I believe our relationship is at, you feel safe with me saying probably anything. Because you know there's no threat to you and there's nothing about it that makes you feel genuine like, oh God, is he going to put the finger in my butt and stop the poop? Or like, there's nothing, there's no actual threat of that. So the conversation doesn't go to like a level of how much do I trust this person.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's never a consideration for me.
To put it up the butt?
That's not.
No. Yeah, hopefully you don't see me as like any threat.
No.
That's good. I hope not. I mean.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Do you ever see me as a threat in any way?
Mm-mm.
No?
That's why I'm so comfortable opening up to you. I'm generally pretty open in general, but wow. But no, with you, I feel so unbelievably comfortable. I could tell you, I'm pretty sure anything, and I wouldn't be met with like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Nope, I accept you 100%.
That's good.
As is.
Because I'm a weirdo and freak.
Cheers.
I love Cheers. Ted Danson. George Wendt.
Where everybody knows your name.
That's right.
Right?
Here, yeah.
I never watched that show. Did
really.
you ever watch Coach?
With Craig T. Nelson?
Yes. Did you ever watch that show? I think I loved that show.
You might have. I don't know. I don't think I watched much of it. I remember it being on but I think during that era I was watching Roseanne.
I love Roseanne.
Or like Married with Children. What I wasn't like crazy about, but I still watched it because it was on. It was funny.
Married with Children is a different thing to watch now. Have you watched any of that recently?
Not recently.
You should. It's a different experience as an adult. Yeah.
What about Home Improvement?
I haven't tried that one really as an adult.
It's interesting to think about like what kind of stuff like then versus now.
Or Full House.
I watched Fuller House.
I haven't watched that at all.
There's actually some scenes in there that is like, damn, because like, you know, you grew up with these characters, so to watch them struggle as adults as well is kind of cool because there's situations that come up that's actually kind of like, Stephanie, it's okay. Like, don't be upset. And it's actually like, I liked it. You know, it maybe just sort of punching me in the nostalgia, but I enjoyed it.
Roseanne,
I
think, is, if I had to pick one show throughout my whole life that I have had the most appreciation for, I think it is that.
Roseanne.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Do you think she's a god?
That's not sure.
Don't respond like I'm dumb.
No, I wouldn't have called it that way.
No?
You
don't think she has any power?
What?
I'm sorry.
What are you talking about? Shut up, John.
It's fair.
Did you figure out what anybody was saying about?
No. Yeah. If anybody wants to like message us back, like you have to like
anxiety.
Pop into the actual like event chat room and do it, or you can text me. I'll put my number out there because I want to know. Like I think it was talking about like alleviating anxiety. And that's something I don't want to ignore because that's such a huge thing for so many people. And it's finding ways to do it for me was monumental. If you need to, 505-615-3395 if you need to actually like text in and ask me. But yeah, I only got like the first sentence and I can't find like the rest of it anywhere on the app or the page over there or anything. So you okay?
Mm-hmm.
You have to go to the bathroom?
Uh-uh.
Okay, let's see. Surprise. Let's see. What else do we have up here? Oops, you're a weirdo. Why am I not surprised? Okay, remember their patrons. Somebody that we know too. Somebody I grew up with.
Who?
Lucas Duncan.
Lucas?
Yep.
Hi, Lucas. How are you? Are you kicking somebody's ass right now?
Whoa, and texting at the same time while watching the show.
Are you in a fight?
It's in the middle of a battle and watching the episode.
Yeah.
How do I deal with the stress of alleviating stress when I'm destroying somebody? Maybe. That's a good question.
How do I alleviate my anxiety when I'm kicking somebody's ass?
Well, that's probably a big part of it. PTSD, you know? It doesn't just come from, you know, being harmed or in a bad situation, but also from like damaging somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he wants to he's stepping on some dude's neck and like, I don't like this. Yeah.
I don't like this.
Yeah, what do I do? I don't know.
Stepping on somebody's neck. I don't like this. I need a text.
Yeah, Dr. Drew. Yeah, exactly. That's important. It's important to know. No, it's and yeah, I would like to get like, you know, questions and to help people out because it's been, you know, paramount to me to find not ways that work for everybody else, but to get ideas of how things do work for people.
Yeah, also, you know, anybody that has come across ways that they've managed stress or anxiety, depression that have been really effective for you, it would be cool for us to know that too.
Absolutely, because it is such a varied thing that, you know, I can tell you what works for me, you can tell you what works for you, but everybody has something different, and if something out there helps somebody else, it's important. You know, that's the bottom line, is if you can help anybody, there's value to it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and we would like to be able to share that with people if applicable, because it's scary not knowing what to do, not knowing how to react, not knowing, well, how to respond.
Respond.
Oh, that's a big one. To respond.
Repledge.
Yeah, to repledge your own
Restate.
choices.
Yeah.
Your own
balance, your own volition.
Yeah, I like that. It's a very powerful thing to know that you're in control.
Yeah.
Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "My husband is hung like a goddamn orangutan," and he responded with, "Do what you can with what you have, where you are." Was Eleanor and Theodore together? I don't know. They were both Roosevelts. I don't know.
No, wasn't he your kid?
I don't know.
Really?
Do you know?
I'm pretty sure that Eleanor was with the other
Franklin?
one. Yeah, Franklin.
Am I just ruining history right now? I don't know. All I know is I love Theodore Roosevelt quotes too. He's a brilliant man, brilliant parents, I guess.
I came across some really great quotes.
You came up with some good quotes?
I came up with some good quotes. Now I'm gonna just look through these real quick and see if I like any that I want to share.
Yeah.
Let me see. Do something entertaining.
Me?
One of the most important things I've learned in life is to ignore most of what people say and instead watch what they do.
Yeah. I like that. Not enough to remember it, but I like it. No, that's a very good thing, is you can tell a lot about people by what happens. There was something I had read. I think it was from probably Emerson, and I think it was. And it was a quote along the lines of, if I see somebody on the street that I should wish to talk to, why would I not want to just meet a stranger? I can't remember the exact quote. I have to look that one up, but it was a really cool kind of just embracing the fellow man, curiosity for fellow people, and just, why would I not want to know a stranger better?
What do you think of that?
Do you want me to read out loud?
Sure. Do you know how to read?
No. Do what you feel in your heart to be right. You'll be criticized anyway.
That's Eleanor Roosevelt.
She's brilliant. I love it. That's a big thing that I think people, should embrace very readily. I got to remember it as well, too, is no matter what you do, somebody's going to be a critic. Another big thing that I learned is that the more that you stand up for you and your own self, your own beliefs, your own structure, it is inevitable you will be met with persecution. It will happen. If you stand for you, somebody will resist that.
So, we live in a way that there are people invested in our behavior.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You have customers that are invested in what you do.
Yeah. They
want you to do certain things in order for them to be happy.
Right.
Families operate that way. Some friendships operate that way. So just culturally, there are expectations placed on you daily as you walk around in your life. Daily.
Yeah.
And if you do something far enough outside of the realm of somebody's idea of what you should be within the realm of, they're going to have something to say or think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
Pretty much, yeah.
All the time.
All the time. Yeah. I mean, people are going to do what they're going to do. People are going to think what they're going to think. Opinions are like...
buttholes.
Buttholes?
Yeah. Assholes, buttholes. Everybody has one, they all stink.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Did you make that up?
Yeah, just now.
Yeah.
It's my new quote. It's quotable. Quote me, guys.
Ay.
So...
what has Lucas been up to lately, anyway?
Teaching Taekwondo.
Is he in Albuquerque?
Yep. He actually was at the store 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So, you reading this?
Uh-huh.
Do you want to read it out loud?
Yep.
Okay.
So each time, are we reading it out loud?
That's up to this man right here.
Yeah.
We can talk about this.
Well, I mean, this is sort of... I've had a conversation with this individual while you were off doing all kinds of bullshit.
Just shoveling manure?
Yeah, while you were out there fertilizing.
Right, yeah, taking care of the garden.
Fertilizing. So I don't know the context of this, interaction that you have with this person.
Yeah.
But you do.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm just curious. I'm at the edge of my seat.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're actually...
I'm not. I'm at the back of it.
This is completely not literal at all.
No, I wasn't speaking in literal terms. So every time that you interact, this person feels like a bumbling idiot. Stumbling on speech, saying strange things.
Okay, weird things at the moment. By no means I'm the first person, as a former 4-year language arts teacher. I don't think I'm an imbecile, but I have felt that each time I left the store, I was like, I think I have I love you man syndrome. Is this common to my Paul Rudd? I'll see you there. I'll see you at another time. It's a fun question. I do this all the time. I get mixed up in words so constantly, and there are people that I have sort of French crushes on. And there are people that I'm so excited to see, that I'm so happy to be around. I totally do the same thing, and I'll just be like, "Hey, it's pretty cool." You know, like, and like it's you know, but of course, like that's when it's a genuine folly, it's harder to.
Does this person have the same effect on you?
He does, actually. It's a person I respect tremendously.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have I met this person?
No.
Okay.
No, you have not. Yeah, truth be told, I've seen him in person like 4 times total.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. But the thing is, we've had a lot of conversations. We've talked on the phone before. We've chatted. We've talked about, you know, conversations with God. In fact, I showed him the book a couple months ago, and from what I remember, it's a very positive response. And because I think he was also going through a lot of stuff that was along the same lines of, you know, where I needed to be when I needed this book. And it was kind of one of those, not, you know, same situation, but the time in your life when this book is going to be the most poignant.
Yeah.
And so we discussed it for a while. We talked on the phone for almost like an hour and a half. It was really fun. And just we've chatted, and he's come in the store, and we just interact and hang out. And it's just a really good, positive experience. That's actually something that led to me feeling really sort of blissful today, which was good. Was just,
did you hear that?
It's true. It's true. Like, good interactions,
blissful,
like, they boost me so much more than anything. Like, a good day at the store, you know, like, monetarily is good because it's security for me continuing to do what I do. But there is nothing that matches, for me, the feeling of an interaction with somebody that I respect, that I love, that, you know, like, I can have like a really good back and forth with. And even somebody that I'm kind of like shy around, that's actually a good sign for me, because when I get shy, I talk a lot. When I get nervous, I actually talk a lot, and I mess it up all the time too.
So try to put your finger on it. What are the things that actually bring out shyness in you?
It's like having a respect for somebody. It makes me feel kind of like, what am I going to say? Like, am I going to say the wrong thing? And then I'll start mixing up words. I'll say, like, you know, cool and sweet at the same time, and it comes out as always cute. Right? Take off for a second?
I have to.
Right. Okay.
I have to. Be right back.
Okay, that's fine. Hope you die. Right. Hi. So, yeah, it's really interesting that I end up getting this sort of, you know, I lose composure to an extent as well too. And sometimes it might look like I can hold it together pretty well, and sometimes I actually have kind of a hard time articulating or saying things, and I feel like I'm just, you know, like stuff is pouring out and I don't know what to do. But to me, like, that's so important to me, because I think I'm fairly well composed when I'm like just doing well. And so to be to like that level of excitement, it's kind of like a dog who's freaking out and doesn't know what to do. And so like it's hitting its head and it's falling down the stairs, or it's rolling around, or like it's making mistakes. Like, to me, it's sort of being elated to that point. And actually I find an extreme joy in that, because it's an indicator to me that I can't contain myself in a sense. And that's very important as an expression for me. So yeah, if you ever see me acting all like goobery around anybody, men, women, like, you know, just people that I love and respect, that's basically how it goes. So, you know, I like it. I think it's cool, and I'm glad to have people in my life that can consistently make me feel like that. So, yeah, there you have it. I can keep taking questions while I wait for Michelle to do whatever stupid crap she's doing, but let's see. We're going to erase some of these questions. Bada bada bing, baby, baby girl, little tiny daughter, swimming in the water. PJ Harvey Keitel. Okay. Oh, this chair is warm. That's actually what I like the most, I think. Yeah, I hope a lot of what we've talked about tonight. I think the best thing is, whenever we start the show, we sort of have like an idea in mind of what we're going to discuss, what we're going to talk about, what the subject is going to be, and it sort of ends up evolving naturally. And then, of course, interactions actually, I think, promote the organic nature of the show much better, which I prefer, because, you know, trying to stay tuned to a single subject can be really difficult at times. But, you know, I'm talking about how we usually have like an idea in mind. This is my chair now. Is that cool? Don't give me that look. But the idea of being like, so we have an idea, integrity, that's the theme, or, anxiety, that's the theme, or whatever, that's the theme. But the moment that we start getting an interaction like this,
yeah,
like, it becomes organic. It becomes like a conversation. It becomes a back and forth, and it becomes so much more natural that, like, I don't even have to worry about subject because we just start going. And it just sort of like, it flows so well. And then we have a great back and forth, and we have a great interaction. And it's just, this to me is like when it's the best.
Yeah.
Is when we just start going and we're not trying to focus on, well, let's stick to the subject.
Yeah.
It's just, I like to have that sort of like as, let's talk about it and see where it goes.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So what did I miss?
Just an appreciation for good people and how much it affects me. And my analogy was kind of like, when an animal is so excited that like it can't contain itself. That's sort of how I do, and like that's when I sort of like spill over words, and I kind of like, I don't know how to lean on the counter, or I don't know how to like, put my hand in my pocket, or like, what do I do, right?
I don't know how to put my hand in my pocket.
I don't know how I lose,
I forget how to do this.
It's funny because like I become more self-conscious of like things like that, which is weird to me because I generally don't worry about that, but if I'm in the presence of somebody that I like and respect, it comes out.
Yeah.
And I it's like an excitement thing, so I find it to be something that I enjoy because.
I just received an interesting question.
Okay.
Okay. This person asked just now, why is it that so often women choose to be with men that treat them like crap and not be with men that treat them well?
This would be a really important thing, I think, for a lot of people to hear, because a lot of people ask this question.
I think so too.
Sure.
I've heard this so many times. Like, nice guys finish last, women love assholes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I've heard it the other direction a lot as well, where it's going the other way. Like, why does he love getting walked all over?
Right. Yeah.
These kinds of things, and yeah.
Interesting question.
Have you ever wondered that? Like, have you ever felt like that?
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
I treat people so well in my relationships. My name is
Mm-hmm.
John, and so they don't want me.
Yeah. I have felt like that before. Yeah. One of the big ones that I had a very difficult time with was, it was nothing but like a handwritten note filled with nothing but compliments about how good this was. My parents love you to death. You treat me better than Jesus. Like, my grandma is in love with you. Like, nobody's ever done this for me. Yada, 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 yada.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to step away. Holy crap. Like, right? That's a big thing to be like, I don't understand the message here.
Mm.
That's a very large thing to be like, well, what do you mean? Why is that?
Yeah, so it seems like, all this right here how does it connect to stepping away?
Yeah, this is the best food of my life. The price is perfect. I've never had pizza better than this. The sauce is literally the most magnificent of my life. Like, but I'm never coming here again.
Yeah.
Mystery.
It's a mystery. Nobody will ever know. I think we've talked about this in the last few weeks. I think we all really do have ways that until we have sorted it out, we repeat beliefs about ourselves.
Yes.
We repeat certain, maybe repeat experiences that we've had while we were growing up or in relationships in the past, but one way or another, however we see ourselves, the deep down beliefs that we do have about ourselves, we're going to walk around in life proving them.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have some sort of, discomfort about being treated well because I don't see myself as worthy or deserving of that, then chances are I'm going to reject anything that looks like that.
Sure.
And certainly reject anyone that is bringing that.
You accept anything that maybe says my
we
values
accept what we believe about ourselves. We accept
therefore,
what we believe.
if this guy sucks, maybe I deserve to be with somebody who kind of sucks because this is where I'm allowed to be.
Right. So, because in a lot of ways, what we believe about ourselves, it might be painful, but it's our comfort zone still.
Sure.
It's still our comfort zone. And to have our comfort zone refuted is uncomfortable, and it requires some work and some stretching and some expanding and contracting. And it requires that we do something different or think in a different way. And, a lot of the time that feels threatening to people. So rather than challenge these patterns or beliefs about myself, I'm going to go ahead and go with this maybe limited belief about myself, which is not so hot.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, being with somebody that treats, person well might be completely just, what is that?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you don't understand it.
It doesn't make sense. Like it almost feels like a foreign, out of place sort of experience,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, have you ever had the experience of, for some reason or another, finding yourself really attracted to women that treat you like crap?
It seems like it. I think it's both people battling their own worth. And so I attract myself to somebody who treats me like crap because not a lot of them really have. I think a lot of them...
You've been with women that wanted to change you.
That is definitely true. Yeah. Not a lot recently, though. Like, there's a point where I went past that completely.
Yes.
In the past, the last...
And why? And how did that happen?
Because I accepted about myself what I deserve and where I should be.
Your belief about yourself transformed into something sort of different.
Correct.
Therefore, acting like the old pattern doesn't make sense anymore.
Not any longer.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, certainly on in high school, my very first relationship, and it was with somebody that I'm a very good friend with now. Darcy. We're great friends. My very first girlfriend when I was 15 years old. And I had no idea what I was doing. I thought, oh, a girl likes me, therefore this is going to work. And,
we're going to get married.
Right, yeah. And so then it ended up being a situation that just was not conducive to a good relationship. Not her fault, not my fault, just we were 15 years old. Nobody knew. We were each other's first
I remember
boyfriend,
planning getting married, my 15-year-old boyfriend. Ricky.
Wasn't me.
No, it wasn't you. It was your friend.
That was my friend, yeah, exactly. I dated Darcy and you dated my friend Ricky. Yeah. Yeah. I was always, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of jealous.
We were 15 and 14, Why do we call it dating?
We didn't know what we were doing. Yeah. It was literally, our mom drops us off someplace until they're far enough away so we can make out. That's what dating was. Yeah. It was literally nothing more than that.
It was good times.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, it is interesting to think that the extent of it is really, people and what they believe they deserve. And that's sort of like a universal rule. So understanding that, and I mean, the girl that I was very much in love with a year and a half ago, she was a bit younger and just in a very different spot. And I can't fault the fact that she was not ready to be okay with where she was. She had a lot of growing to do, a lot of getting past that. And so, while a lot of it I don't understand, which is the lack of communication, a lot of it I don't understand because it means you simply weren't there. You weren't in that spot. She was not at the place where she needed to be to allow something.
Truly, honestly, the way that anytime I asked you what happened with that relationship and you've explained to me what she explained to you, I just don't buy it. I just don't. I mean, it's a year and a half later and you're still saying, I don't really understand it. I think it's because it was bullshit. Not 100% bullshit.
Sure.
But there was more to it. And I think maybe some of what was communicated was distorted. And if I were to guess, and maybe this is what this individual that you were talking to is discussing, and you being so significant and effective around him. I think you are intense. You're one of the most intense persons that I've ever encountered. And, to have that much focus and care at the level at which you do it, I believe it would be uncomfortable for most females.
That's fair. I mean, what's weird about
and not because it's a negative thing.
Sure.
Because, how many of us really are walking around believing 100% I deserve the very, very, very best treatment, the very best this and that. I mean, so not that there's anything wrong with how you do what you do, just that how many people really are self-accepting and self-loving enough to allow that kind of I'm pretty intense when it comes to relationships, platonic ones as well. If I feel a connection with someone, I'm willing to go there. Alexander Skarsgård.
Yeah, right?
He's Tarzan.
He's also one of the vampires from Spooky Vampire Show, True Blood. That's where I knew him from.
So reading that feels like
Yeah, I saw this immediately. I was like, yeah. And this doesn't necessarily mean intensity in relationships is a romantic connection, but it's intense because when I'm connected with somebody, a person, like, yes, and actually right here, someday someone won't be afraid of how much you love. They won't stay on the shore. They'll meet you in the depths. Yeah, because I do. I have a very strong presence when it comes to that, and some people simply are not ready for that. Some people, like, it is scary for a lot of people because they think, what does this person want? What does this person need?
Right, because it feels like there must be something on the take here.
Right, precisely. That'll be a good one too. Actually, I want to talk about the take, not this week, but like that's a big one for next week. As big as Dolph Lundgren's bicep. You thought I was going to say wiener.
Wieners.
Yeah, I don't know how big his wiener is.
John, what's your favorite TV show of all time? Is it Alf?
That's up there.
Is your favorite TV show Alf?
See, okay. I have to distinguish between...
What is The Shield? I've never watched that.
Questions of morality. Yeah, it's a show about cops.
Okay.
And like,
is wrongdoing bad if it ultimately leads to a positive outcome?
It's one of those things that like it makes you question both sides of every decision. I do love Breaking Bad. I'm watching through Breaking Bad again. I love Twin Peaks. There's a lot of really powerful, interesting shows. But I'm trying to think of something that like 6 Feet Under.
That is a great show.
That could be one of like...
That is in my top 5.
The defining shows. Yeah. You liked it so much, we were watching it, and then you just went and bought the rest of the seasons and watched the rest of it without me.
I thought I was supposed to.
No, because I was like, come over this week and we'll watch it together. You're like, cool. And then suddenly like, I'm on season 4, and I was like, oh, we were on season 2 last time.
I thought I was supposed to watch it without you. 6 Feet Under is up there. Alf is up there for me.
It's up there for me too.
True, and this might be an annoying cliche thing, but Family Guy is up there for me. I freaking love that show.
Mm-hmm.
I love Roseanne. Roseanne is probably my number 1.
Is it?
I've been watching a lot of The Office lately.
I like The Office.
Mm-hmm. But Roseanne.
Roseanne. And so so he's listing his reason as being it's something that actually makes you think about like a human condition, which is the constant struggle of
the contrast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. So this is an interesting question because he's talking about the morality in this show. What is right and wrong? I don't know if I believe in that at all. Mm-hmm. I think there is aligned with what my inner self really wants and not aligned with what my inner self really wants. But right and wrong, I don't know if I want to say that. And like an example of this
is a powerful dichotomy to have to define.
There are situations where to me murder is like 1,000% appropriate. And situations where it's 1,000% not appropriate. But that's just me and where I come from and how I see.
Right.
But is that the same as anybody else? I don't know. I also really don't care. I don't feel like I don't know if I like this idea of universal rights and wrongs. Anyway,
it's very difficult to define because it's all still constructed by us.
I'd like to see a little bit of that show because I haven't.
Let's watch it sometime.
Okay, so I'll go buy all of it and watch all of it without you.
Okay, and you can tell me about it.
And I can tell you about it.
Okay.
And then I'll say, yeah, John and I watched this together.
Right? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's fine. You're lucky I watched 6 Feet Under already though, because I'd watched it before, so I wasn't.
That's an example of one of those situations for me where I'm like exceptionally unobservant, exceptionally insensitive, and I like don't because I want what I want, which is to watch this show right now. I don't even think or notice that it might be rude, considering that we had like an agreement about watching this stuff together.
I felt we did. We might have not even had that designed. It might have just been like implied and never actually like specified, which is hey, it's open to interpretation.
Well, one way or another, either way, however you slice it, I was exceptionally unobservant.
That's okay. This is one of my favorite things about this person right here, Michelle, is that we have like this crazy relationship it's kind of like the old like 90s shows where like they're hanging out in the living room and suddenly Joey Lawrence just walks in and like goes to the pantry or whatever. Michelle can just come over and hang out and it's not weird. It's not abrasive. It's not intrusive. She shows up and sometimes she'll literally just open up the cabinet, find a bag of bagels, and eat them all. This has happened before, and I don't mind because like
I ate a bag of bagels today.
I'm positive you did that.
And it was probably like 3 hours ago, and it was great.
3 hours ago.
I'm someone that believes that carb loading is the healthiest thing for the human body. So I also believe in mind over matter. So if I ate a bunch of carrots and broccoli and I'm like, this is bad for me, it'd probably kill me. Because I believe that.
You get heart failure, yeah.
I believe that eating
a bag of bagels
is good for me. So I feel great.
That's good. Yeah, we have a really interesting friendship, and it's totally cool.
Yeah. Okay, so I will walk into your house. Yeah, I'll read that in a minute. I will walk into your house.
Yeah.
And I definitely do. I'll walk into your house and do what I want, wherever I want in it.
And it's fine with me. Like, it's not weird in any way to me. Like, if you just came in and, like, you went into my bathroom and started just, like, going through my soap, I guess. I don't know, like, what you would do in there. But, like, you could just come in here and do stuff, and I'd just be like, hey, what's up? Like, it's yeah, I have no problem with that. Wow, that's interesting.
Okay, funny story.
So, I have the bed that Alexander Skarsgård filmed a sex scene on for the movie War.
I'm coming over.
And just rub your butt all over the bed. Like, this is like a transference of, like...
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty sweet. That is crazy. Internet celebrity Keith Apicary slept in my bed. That's like my claim to fame.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you impressed?
No.
Nope. He also says 6 Feet Under has the best series finale ever, and The Shield is the best overall show.
The montage at the end of 6 Feet Under.
If you have not watched that show, it is...
Every once in a while, I'll just YouTube that. It's like, what, a 4-minute... It's just that song Sia wrote, Breathe Me.
Mm-hmm.
And it will pull out all the emotions as though I just watched the entire series.
It's very powerful.
That one montage can totally do that to me.
It's very impressive to think that, like, after a show of, like, what, 6 seasons and so much buildup, that they nailed the ending perfectly. Like, that's a big risk, right? A lot of shows don't,
Season finales are a big deal.
It is. It's a big risk, but that show nailed it. So if you have not seen it, I implore you to go watch 6 Feet Under in some way and go all the way through and just realize that, like, that struck a lot too. Like, that show, having to deal with mortality and how it affects everybody so differently.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it really was.
We should check out The Shield. We'll watch like a season or something. It might be on Amazon Prime or something.
Cool.
We'll figure it out. Okay.
I'm getting tired.
You are tired.
I'm a tired old hag.
You are.
How
old are you? 33.
Yeah. 33. You're 34.
Yeah, my birthday's in a month.
Oh, that's right. It's a month from Thursday.
Don't talk to me like that.
Well, somebody has to keep you in your place.
That's true. The birthday fairy.
The birthday fairy.
Yeah.
Which, is the date, August 14th, or around that time, that you and I met back up again.
It was right around then.
In 2008.
Yep. 8 years ago. 8-year friend-iversary.
Our friend-iversary.
Mm-hmm. Second
Our
friend-iversary.
re-friend-iversary.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Thank you.
So, I want to say muchas gracias, which means...
To me?
No.
Oh. Oh, good. I didn't do anything for you.
No, not you. Why would I thank you for anything?
I don't know.
You've never done anything for me.
I know.
All the times that I've eaten all your food and
it was all
lived
poisoned.
with you for free for months.
Yeah, right.
You're such a dick.
I do what I can. Yeah. That's my thing is I love pissing chicks off by being nice to them. Yeah. No free food? Enjoy it.
Oh, anyway, all right. But
yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching.
For tonight.
Thanks for tuning in. You are always free to write into us, to send us a text message, to send me a Facebook message, whatever means possible. If you ever want us to send
us a telegram.
If you ever want to send us a telegram,
a singing one.
That'd be cool.
I've never had one of those. Have you ever had a singing telegram?
No, but in the movie Clue, the telegram who comes out and gets shot, I believe, is the same chick that plays Joan of Arc in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Ooh.
I know.
Ooh. Wow.
Don't be that person.
Okay.
Yeah, but you guys should continue to check us out. Literally, though, if you ever want us to address a question like just on the show in general, you can write us anytime, not even just for the show. You can write us on the Facebook page. You can write me personally. You can probably write Michelle. I don't know. I'm going to speak for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Write Michelle personally. You could let us know.
Are we friends on Facebook?
You and me? No. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to see your crummy wall. Yeah.
No, we are. You can find me there.
Yeah, totally. Michelle.
Somewhere in his friends.
Yeah, Michelle.
And all the Michelles.
All the Michelles. I probably know a couple Michelles. One true Michelle.
There's just me.
Just the one Michelle. Anyway, yes, Blue Lady Podcast on Facebook. You can rate us there as well too. Or a message on YouTube, however it comes to be. And we'll always discuss things. Again, we don't have all the answers, but we're always learning. We'll always discuss. We'll always, put out there what our experiences are and, our hardships and our triumphs, because it's an ongoing thing. It'll never finish. I'm never going to have it complete.
You never get it done and you cannot get it wrong.
That's right. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it very much. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. I think this is a very good, productive show. Went over...
this was a fun one that seemed to go through some nonsense. Yeah. It was good. And it was pendulated, I think, more than any of the other ones that we've done. So far, yeah. This definitely has. Yeah. And now we're getting a bunch of people. Now we're wrapping up. But yes, you guys should be able to catch us every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So check your clocks and make sure you have it set for Blue Lady Podcast. We'll be here again, same time, same place. We will, next week. We'll do it at your house just because it works technically. And this room's fine and comfortable, and, there's no poison gas in here. Nope. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Love all of you. And until next time.